Hello there, toy collectors. My name is Kevin, aka Toying Around, and I am very excited to bring you this special review.
If anything, the Kim family, they're archetypes.
Which is sad, but not always a bad thing.
I'm okay, I have one.
Let's
You see all the name.
Let's try them. Let's still try.
What's going on, everyone? Happy Toys Day! My name is Kevin, aka Toying Around. You're watching Unboxing Thursdays. What I do here is sit down with a friend, a collector in this community, and open some toys every week and make space for more toys once I get them out of these boxes, because everyone has more toys, whether you want to or not. But thank you for tuning in. And I hope you can subscribe to the channel. There's toy content we're streaming every week. We have the Bad Batch case of the Mondays with the Boba Squadron talking about Star Wars Bad Batch. So hopefully you can stick around. Next week's Unboxing Thursday guest is Dante from the Infinity Equation. And, I'm just working on getting the setup here in the room. You got the new angle, unintentional, cool angle that I like, and it shifted everything. So I got the new sign. I got the Bearded Build sign in the background. It's kind of looming behind me, but I really like it. It does feel like I'm in a TV station. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Everyone who shared on social media, everyone who's watching over on Twitch, everyone who left a thumbs up, thank you. I appreciate you. And let's get to tonight's guest. A Star Wars collector of a lot of things, and he it's just seems like a really interesting dude. He's got his hands in a lot of different pots. Is that the right metaphor? Yeah, pots. From the website from LOM to Zuckuss.com. Please give a warm, buttery welcome to Jake.
Oh, hello there, and welcome. Thanks for having me. General Kenobi, how are you doing?
Good, man. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being here, man.
Well, thanks for having me, and you are my inaugural show in this new space that I have. So we can talk about that, but the room I am in is brand new. We're talking like weeks and / days new. So it does not look like a collection yet, but it will over time. So
yeah, by over time you mean there will be more and more stuff in there, right?
100% correct. Yes, that is true. But hopefully stuff you can actually see and make sense of, because what you're really seeing is bins and bins of Star Wars figures. There's probably 3,000 in these bins along this back wall, but eventually, hopefully, they will be on display. Oh, I think you muted.
Muted? I'm a professional. Yep. I think it's new because you can still see the wall. Like, it's not covered with toys or shelves.
Nothing's even on the wall. I have not put a single thing on this wall. You can see here, I'm looking forward to where I'm going to mount when Toys R Us went out of business. I went in and bought some of their signs.
Oh, you got signage.
Yeah, so those are some of the signs. And then a good friend of mine made this beautiful, beautiful wooden artwork here. Chris Moorhead, host of one of the co-hosts on Galaxy of Toys here in the Seattle area. He made this vintage Boba Fett, which is a piece I want to have in a specific place. But then again, you gotta balance, because if you put stuff up on walls, that's less display cases. So these might actually go in the stairs that come down to this room. So we'll see.
I like that, like a classy theater with the marquee showings tonight. Because I have artwork, I got signatures, I have comic covers that I want to display. But do I want to put that up, or do I want to put another row of detolfs? It's a tough call.
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm thankful for. We have a guest room upstairs, and I was able to put all my personalized autographs on the wall above the guest room bed there. So I do have a place where I've started to fill up wall space, to think that to keep this fresh and
Mhm.
free. But we'll see. This is going to take shape over the next. I think it'll be a good year before this is looking like I want it to.
I just freaked myself out. I was loading up your site and there's sound, and I'm like, where did this wind come from? Did you see my reaction? I was like this. I was loading up your site to queue it up for later. But
That's funny you should say that. I was so busy. I was trying to multitask. We had kind of a free day today. I'm a school teacher. I'm a middle school teacher. And we had a free day here where we were trying to let kids get caught up, but also have kids who are caught up have free time. So there was a period where I had some free time. I'm like, you know what? I need to flip that Andor trailer out for the new Mando season 3 trailer that just dropped. And that was on. I had the site loaded, and then, 6th graders happened. So didn't get to it, but yeah, I will.
It's all good. It's all good. It's a great site. We'll talk about it real quick. But then the website is from forlom to zuckuss.com. Do you want to tell people? Well, we'll talk about the site later. What do you collect, Jake? What are you into?
Well, I am known, of course, for my insane Star Wars addiction, passion, interest,
Two sides of the same coin.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I am a lifelong Star Wars, and I am older than I look. So I've seen every single Star Wars movie, re-release, whatever, opening day in the theaters since 1983. So since Return of the Jedi came out, I've seen every single one in the theater. So that dates me a little bit. And I went to Empire, but I don't remember it because that starts to date me a little too young. But yeah, so I'm a lifelong Star Wars guy. And then, like I've said before, because I've done some 10 years podcasting on and off with Galaxy of Toys and my own shows here and there. I have said this multiple times that when Star Wars died in about 84, when no one cared about it really much anymore, G.I. Joe became my mistress. So I'm married to Star Wars, but G.I. Joe is very much my side piece. And so I collected Joe solidly until 2004, I think. And but I wasn't just Joe. I'm an 80s kid through and through. So smaller, the better for me. Which I know is weird because right now the craze is 6-inch and higher usually for, amazing photographers like yourself, it does make sense. But for me, I was raised with really small figures. So I'm talking Mask is one of my main loves in life.
I have Mask.
I am 6 vehicles away from everything. So I am so close. And guess what? Most of that I got when I was a kid. So that's how I was pretty spoiled. So that also
were you an only child?
I am not.
Do you have siblings?
I'm a middle child, but my parents love holidays. So I was spoiled really heavily as a kid.
Nice.
I have some pictures of me at Easter that looks like it looks like, your birthday on crack. It's just because Easter was a holiday where you got, the Rancor and everything else that was out that year. So, but yeah, Sky Commanders, Starcom, Mask, all those little guys, those were my big claim to fame in the 80s. G.I. Joe, like I said.
Did you have Visionaries?
I didn't get into Visionaries, actually. That was kind of a blip and you miss it for me. Centurions I did, and that's a larger action figure. So I was definitely into Centurions.
Cool.
I'm almost complete on that line too. But yeah, He-Man was big. So when Star Wars died, He-Man definitely popped in. Transformers, but then my parents thought Transformers cost too much, so then they went to GoBots, and I'm still excited about finding new GoBots I don't have. So that's kind of it's a good hobby to have because they're cheap. They're cheap. The only problem is they're brittle. So you find a cheap GoBot and you transform it and it breaks in half. So
damn.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
That's the problem. So what did we cover? We covered Masters of the Universe. We covered
all your mistresses. Yes.
Oh yeah, G.I. Joe's the main one, but I have lots of sides.
What a player.
Superheroes. I'm a Marvel guy, so I did lots of superheroes. Batman '89 is a no-brainer, of course. I do the He-Man Mega collection. I just put together a Snake Mountain this Christmas. Yeah. Transformers. I only like the first 2 years of Transformers, though, so that's kind of weird. I know once the movie came, it killed everything. Dan Larson, Secret Galaxy, formerly Toy Galaxy, he recently said, in a video he did, he phrased it exactly right for me. And he said, Transformers the movie was an off-ramp for those who had all their favorite characters killed. And I'm like, that's exactly right. You are exactly right, because I was done with Transformers after that movie. So I'm kind of all over the place. Like I said, I'm known for Star Wars. I'm a Star Wars 3 3/4 completist, so I buy every single thing that comes out.
Nice.
So that's my main, it's a no-brainer when something new comes out. But you can see I'm nearly complete on Masters of the Universe Origins. I'm complete on any modern G.I. Joe O-ring, like the All Striker just came out that transforms into Bumblebee. I love the Retro Joe line.
That's crazy. That's a lot of stuff.
No, I know. It's a lot of stuff. And we were talking before the show. I'm like, I find myself buying stuff all the time. I'm like, oh, yeah, right. I collect too many lines. So that's the problem.
Yeah, that'll definitely affect it. So we're going to open up some toys tonight. Do you have a few things that you want to show people? Maybe you're going to open tonight? Anything you have on deck?
Free to open. So everything here behind me, I have gotten the last
like an auction.
No, I know. Seriously. So everything here I have bought. Last night, even, I just went to Toys R Us Walmart for the first time, because I was in a town that had Walmart, actually toys in a Walmart, because the Walmart that's right next to my house, not next to, but my closest one, is a mile from a university. And from what I've heard, and this would be proof positive by my Walmarts that are close to universities do not carry as many toys. My Walmart doesn't even carry its own exclusives. I have to go to a different town to even find the exclusives from Walmart, because mine is hands down the worst. So.
No, that's an interesting theory. Anyone in the chat notice that? Are you in a college town with a Walmart, and do your Walmarts suck? You don't need to mention if your Walmarts suck in general, but like for this specific case study.
Yeah. I mean, there's another reason I don't go to Walmart often, but we won't get into that. Omar here says, how many frogmongers did you get, Jake? And I got just one. I was able to get one in.
What's up,
Which
Omar?
is a challenge because 10 o'clock West Coast time, I'm just south of Seattle. That is solid third period, and that's a handful of a class. So trying to figure out how to get on a computer anytime Hasbro Pulse or Mattel Creations has a pre-order is so hard. I have to consciously be multitasking multiple ways during that time. Otherwise, during COVID, it's just, you collect toys by pre-ordering. So it's not fun, but that's why I was excited when I said I went to Walmart and I picked up the Road Ripper over here with Mechaneck. I hadn't seen that yet. And Samuel Jackson. I found Samuel Jackson across the street at Target. So
which Sam Jackson?
The Hammond collection, the 3 3/4 one.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you do Jurassic too?
What's that?
I said you do Jurassic too, because I think
just the Hammond collection, and previously what was known, what was it called before this?
The Amber, called the Amber collection.
No, that was the 6-inch. It was called the what was it called? The Amber was the 6-inch.
Right, you're right.
Hammond was the 3 3/4, and before this, it was the was it the Legacy line? I think it was Jurassic Park Legacy. And I typically only pick up stuff from the first 2 films because I'm a Spielberg fan. So
yeah, that's fair. I don't want figures from the other films either. Cool. I have some stuff that I'm gonna open tonight. I have this episode 1 Gasgano and Pit Droid that a friend sent to me. And
do you not have this figure?
No, I don't have. I didn't collect a lot in this era. So my friend Dario from the Toy Amigos, he sees random stuff at his comic shop, and he's like, "Oh, you need this?" I'm like, yeah, and it's a couple bucks, and he'll hook me up with it. So
Perfect.
there's a pit droid. I opened Watto. He sent me Watto last week or 2 weeks ago too. I opened it, so that was a lot of fun. My friend Courtney helped me find this Tusken Raider. It's like $10 at Canadian TJ Maxx. So
Yeah. Wow, that showed up at TJ Maxx, huh? Because I think
Yeah.
that may have been a Walmart exclusive here.
Yeah, it's sometimes those that stock shows up there. It's weird.
Yeah.
This is another exclusive.
Yep.
Got the R2 that I need to put into my X-Wing. I don't know where it is right now.
Which X-Wing are you? Do you have?
It's vintage collection. Luke's
Okay.
X-Wing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think it was
Came out a couple years ago.
Yeah,
110.
125. I got it from Amazon.com. That was a good price. And this pack of droids that I got from Disney.
Hey.
What was it? Droid Depot droids. They're outside
Yeah.
of the little store there. They have
Yeah,
them in
they're
real
outside
life.
the Droid Depot. They're on display
Yeah.
there, and you can interact with the app with them.
Yeah, I
Have you-
just found out recently that you can use, an app or some bounty hunting.
Yeah,
thing
Play
that you can
Disney
do.
inside of the Play Disney app when
Mhm.
you're at Disneyland
I
or
just
Disney World.
found out. Sucks. Well, I mean, they just make them beep. I thought they were just
Right.
anytime
Yeah,
they
the
beep,
little
it was just part
swivel
of the
and
park.
whatnot.
Yeah, still cool.
Ryan's here from Laser Pants is here. He says you're going to challenge Jake to a Star Wars trivia. Listen, my knowledge is deep, and this is not. This comes off politically charged, but it's not. My knowledge is deep until kind of Disney took over, because here's why. Disney saturated us with content, right?
Okay.
Whereas before, going back to the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy, we had 3 years to learn the ins and outs and the details and the backgrounds and who that person is and who that person is. The fact that we know who Moma Nadon is, which is the Hammerhead character, right? When he's released as Moma Nadon. Well,
Mhm.
that came years of people analyzing and trying to figure out who is that weird looking guy in the background real quick. Well, that's really hard to do when every 6 to 12 months you have a major new property release. And then Disney Plus doesn't help, Am I complaining about it? No. I love content. I love content, but it does not let you become an expert on it, right? And you've
Okay,
also noticed that the amount of figures you get from movies and TV shows has drastically decreased.
Mhm.
I mean, how many Black Series figures are there from the last Star Wars sequel movie? The answer is one. The answer is one.
Janna?
Dark. Oh, no. You're right. No, Janna came out in the old packaging. In the new packaging, how many figures are there? There is one. Dark Ray, right?
Oh, yes, that's right.
I believe Dark Ray is the only one in the new packaging. Whereas you look at the other movies and they have loads, right? So there is a challenge in having so much content. The toy companies can't keep up. We can't keep up because, who are all the background characters in Maz's castle? I could probably name 3 or 4. Whereas if you told me the background characters in, Jabba's scene in 84, I can name a bunch, right? So it's just a different amount of content means you have a different level of expertise unless you're really devoting your life to it.
Yeah, there is a lot of content. I mean, I have to spend enough time watching shows and 3-4 times for like recaps and stuff. So, well, that kind of stuff probably helps with remembering. But I do enjoy the content. But I want to take a few minutes to thank everyone who's watching live tonight. Also, everyone who is watching this in the future on the replay. Appreciate you. If you can take a second to hit the thumbs up, it helps the video. It helps the channel on YouTube. But I want to say what's up to channel members. We have here Sam Rock, Literally Action Figs, Winger Lose, Matt Logic 44. Oh, look at all the channel members showing out. Thank you. Dom Muchiciaro, Mr. Ryan Clark. Thank you for being here. Everyone is in the chat. Paul Morales, Omar V. What's good? Good to see you again. 78 points of articulation. I am TJ Williams. Hello all. Good to see you. Stream Elements in the chat. Brick Something. Toy Rensu is here. Norn Radicals. Customs by Machu. What's going on? Happy effing Toys Day, people. Machu Toy is excited to get into some figures. Bat Force Grumps is here. Brick Something. Good to see you again. Happy Thursday. Bearded Bills is here. He says, what it do, baby?
What it do, baby?
Thank you for tuning in. Jason has been excited to Jason is a big fan of yours, apparently. He's
Jason,
really excited for tonight.
Jason is fantastic.
Incredible.
Years ago, he did me a great honor. Oh man, Jason, you have to remind me. Is it Toy Fair or San Diego Comic-Con? Anyway, one year I was invited. I was invited, of course, to do the Hasbro interviews, and I wasn't making it to whatever show it was. And Jason was awesome enough to step in and represent from LOM to Zuckuss and do an interview with Hasbro for me. And so it's
I didn't know he did that. That's cool.
Yeah, no, it's been a few years, but yeah, he was awesome. And then and now he has a great relationship with Hasbro. I'm not saying I did that, but I'm just saying that it helped me. No, I'm not taking any credit.
You said it right after the first thing. But
I'm
no
not
insinuation.
saying it, but
just if you follow the sequence of events,
right? I mean, put things together. No. He is he well established before he ever helped me out for sure. But yeah, Jason's fantastic.
Very
Ryan's in
dude.
the chat. This is a problem.
We'll get to all the Ryans in the chat. We have Toy Malarkey here shouting out everyone. Good to see you, Toy Malarkey. Thank you for sharing over on IG once again. We have the world famous Yoko McCann. What's going on, Yoko?
Hey, Yoko.
Happy Thursday. You've done some stuff with you met Yoko before. We could talk about that later. Trevor is here. 1/6 shooter, NYC figure fanatic, David De La Huerta, Mr. Ryan Clark. Good to see you, Mr. Ryan Clark. Customs by Machu, not to be confused with Machu Toy, is tuning in tonight. No Chewing is here. And thank you for all the channel members tuning in. If you're not familiar with what a channel member is, it's just a way for you to support the channel. There's different tiers. At the very core of it, you can unlock the channel emojis on YouTube that everyone uses to, chat with each other. Something's cool, or if I mess up, you can always use those. Or varying ranges, you can get access to content early or channel member exclusive content. So thank you everyone who supports and tunes into the channel. Matt Logic 44, I turned the music down a little bit for if it was loud earlier. Thank you for letting me know. Highly articulated. RMD Collective, man, all these channel members in the chat, I love you all. You're the best. Paul Morales, if I didn't say that already, everyone's buying stuff this week. What can I convince you to buy? We talked about this briefly. I'm not trying to not buy anything in January, but I was trying to hold off as long as I could because I'm cleaning up around here. But today I broke down, there was a Marvel Legends War Machine on Amazon Canada for $10 from the usual price of $35.99. So had to do it because if you don't at that price, you're losing out on money. So broke down, ordered that for $10.
That's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer.
Yeah, you can't leave a toy like that.
No.
For $10 on the virtual shelves. Gordon Skalski, welcome back. You were here for Boba Squadron the other night. Good to see you. The homie 796 Studios. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. A lot of people saying what's up in the chat. We have a super chat from Machu Toy.
Hello there.
He says this chat be poppin'. Yeah,
Hey.
I mean, everyone's going off. Thank you. And just catching up. I think it's just a whole bunch of people saying hi. Other than Jake is building a harem of toy collections.
This is true. This is very accurate.
And we're at the Walmart section of the chat. I don't have a Walmart near me. Closest one is 15 miles away. Dang.
Yeah.
Figure fan Nate, Toy Rensu, good to see you. And that kind of makes sense. They probably think the toys will sell more near residential areas than college areas. You know, all the adults with the, I guess, jobs and adult money. And they're gonna be the ones that buy all the toys. Luis Renato Kriegel, good morning to you. Laser Pants. I think after Laser Pants, I haven't done Star Wars trivia since because I was like, I don't know shit.
Ryan's here local. He's a local here in the Seattle area.
Nice. Oh, that's right. He's from those parts. Obi-Wan Chingones, Steve Morrow, Chamba. What's up, Chamba? Ryan Dole is here. Says my boy Jake Stevens. Good to see
My
you,
boy
Ryan.
Ryan Dole.
How come that's not his background for toy anxiety?
He's late to the show. I just explained. This is all brand new. This
Started
will be,
over from the
right?
beginning, Ryan.
Come on now.
And then watch it at 2x speed to catch up. Man Mountain 275, Nico Hodge. Good to see you all, my friends. Tony Collector 10, Andrew House says, haha, I got that War Machine too, even though I prefer the earlier version. It's $10 on the retro card. Get all of them. Get all of them. It's a no-brainer. I think my relatives would be like, oh, if you don't buy that for $10, it's like you're losing out. Like you drop $10 on the street. That's that logic. So it doesn't work. Loki is here. What's up, Loki? Not to be confused with Loki Yoki, I guess, from Ernie's stream the other night. Anyway, we're here. Jake, you mentioned, interviewing Hasbro. You got to do a video interview. What's it called? Like a forum, I guess, an open forum. You guys take
the
turns.
round tables, the Q&A round tables. Been doing these for a few years with Hasbro. I'm one of their fan media sites is what the I believe my official term is.
Okay.
Some people would call it influencers, other people would call it shills. I don't care. So you've been collecting Star Wars for how many years? Even before this, but you might be a shill. I have I'm missing 2 figures from a vintage collection complete, I mean, not vintage collection, you can't say that anymore, from having every vintage figure. So I'm been in the game for a long time, but I don't care. I don't care what you call me. And I've been called much worse
by better people. I don't know. That's not how the phrase goes. That's the wrong tab. This is the site, but yeah, it's a great site. You have the interview on there.
Oh yeah, you can. It's funny because the group I was in, so I'm 3 3/4 heavy. I mean, I've really scaled back on the Black Series. I have lots of thoughts about Black Series. I have no problems with those who love them, but they're just not for me because they're not my world building that I grew up with, right? The Kennard set a pretty major precedent for play sets and beasts and creatures and carrying cases and all these things, and the Black Series just can't support that same thing. So I still love the old style of collecting, so that's why I'm a purist and a completist in 3 3/4. So but all the folks on here are also 3 3/4 centric folks. So it was a pretty enlightening interview because almost every question, if you're into 3 3/4, was pretty much posed here.
And it seemed like they had they hinted at there'd be a lot of 3 3/4 stuff coming
retro soon, right? They hinted that if you're
retro.
A fan of the retro, you're going to be happy in 2023. So it sounds like we're going to be seeing a lot more. They've released 2 packs, and they've released, of course, a few waves of figures per media. right? So Star Wars and Empire and Jedi. Jedi's getting theirs this year for the anniversary, the 40th anniversary, of course. Obi-Wan still sitting on the pegs a little bit.
Yep.
I'm going to doubt that they do Andor, just because Andor is a different type of beast than any Star Wars show that's come along. It's amazing. It's fantastic. But it's definitely a different type of beast for Star Wars. So I don't know, it's part of that Rogue One, of course, obviously Tony Gilroy had his hands in both, right? Series, the movie and the series. And I love Golden Books. I love Star Wars Golden Books, and they have made a Star Wars Golden Book for every movie. And the Mandalorian.
That's the kids' storybook line, right?
Yeah, the
Golden
little
books?
From like the 50s, right? It's still going
right.
on. They never made Rogue One, so Rogue One is a little, it's a thing of its own, and of course Andor is connected to that. So I don't doubt that they skip Andor for any major focus. Right now, if you wanted to buy an Andor action figure, there's exactly one, and Disney put it out. They put out BMO, the little droid of Andor, the little red droid.
Yes.
But I mean, that's the only action figure you can get, and that series is, come and gone. So
yeah, it's crazy.
It kind of shows you the support that, and we've been able to pre-order 3 figures in the 3 3/4 line for it, and that's it. So yeah, I don't see them supporting it too much. So unfortunately.
Was it? Were you in the round table? Was it last year or the year before when a certain HasLab was accidentally or in passing mentioned? Maybe some people read too much into it, and it ended up being a coincidence.
Are you being coy right now, or are you outing me as the one who outed?
I'm leading the witness.
Yes. No, I am responsible, unfortunately, for releasing the interview and asking the questions that reveal the Rancor beforehand. So that was an unfortunate slip of tongue by Patrick back then. So yeah, no, I hold some guilt in that. But you know what? If they would have said, can we go back and redo that, or can we ask you not to release this video? I would have. Yeah. But no one said anything, so it posted like I always did. I treated it no differently, and the whole world, my buddy Jason at Yakface definitely, it's funny if you go back and watch that video. He makes this. I was texting. I actually, what I was doing is if you watch the video, I'm posting like, hey, I'm posting to socials that I'm in the middle of a Hasbro Q&A, right? Just to give people a heads up. And then he makes the slip. I don't even look up from my phone, but I completely stopped texting. And I immediately go to all my friends and went, well, we just had the next HasLab leaked.
Oh my God. It was
an immediate transition from what I was doing, but I didn't even look up and go, oh. I was just like, oh, yeah, he just confirmed that. Okay, here we go. And so
it's like, if you go back to check Jake's tweets, it says, I'm now sitting in with the Hasbro team and we are asking, oh my God, the new HasLab is going to be a Rancor.
No.
And then send.
Yeah, no, I let it come out with the video, and rest is history. Yeah, the Star Wars brand teams had a rough time keeping their HasLabs under lock and key, because the HasLab leaked via the Q&A that I was in, and then the very next one, which was Reva's Saber, they actually accidentally uploaded the site before it even went live or was announced, because it was connected, I think, to I was at Star Wars Celebration, I think, when that happened. So they've been rough keeping the last couple under lock and key. And it could be reading into it, but I feel like some of the questions that were asked during this Q&A that's on the screen here, they definitely hint at a HasLab later this year for Star Wars. Hopefully, because like I said, all this is, Bantha Skull and SWTVC, these are all 3 3/4 inch focused sights. So
I want to give a big thank you to a longtime supporter, Blake Quammen.
Thank you. Far too kind.
Says, what up? No, I read that wrong. How did I read that wrong, but still get the same thing? He says, sup, Butter Nation, not what up. I just put my own twist to it. Blake Quammen, thank you. I think you posted a question the other day about what Ryan, the Rogue box that Ryan Ting had on his shelf. I went to go find the comment. I saw the notification on my phone. And then when I went to it on YouTube, I couldn't find the comment. I don't know if you deleted it or something happened, but it was a diamond Rogue mini bust, I believe. So it wasn't anything Legends related. There were no reveals that night. But thank you so much for the support and your and super chat. But yeah, the website here, I mean, it's beautifully laid out. You have sections for all sorts of Star Wars collecting, product images, things like that. So I mean, it's definitely a site where if I were a company, be like, hey, this is a great resource that, you know, if you want to put information out there, it's clean and organized to sort through for fans. So, you know, this is a great site.
I appreciate that. It does need some deep updating in some of the databases, but one thing I found as a school teacher, once COVID hit, my job for, you know, a good year and a half transitioned to being on a computer, which I know some people make their livings working on a computer every day, but I signed up as a school teacher and that's not my, you know, that's not my forte necessarily. So I used to spend my free time having fun on the computer and updating lists and making databases. But when it became my job to also teach on the computer, the last thing I wanted to do was sit down at night and be on a computer. So
no, I get it. That's why I got this chair. I'm like sitting here how many hours a day? Like, well, might as well get comfortable with my surroundings.
Exactly.
There was one more thing I got today that I'm really excited to show people. So this is a variant cover to the Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers series part 2. This is a variant cover by the very talented Mike Del Mundo.
That just came out, right?
Yeah, book 1 came out 2 weeks ago, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Is that signed even?
Yeah, that's signed by Mike right here.
How'd you get that signed already? Did you order it?
Oh, Mike is local.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's awesome.
So he hooked me up with double covers, variant and variant. So this is Metalhead breakdancing.
Yep.
And the other side is Alpha. And when I first saw this, you know, it was in my brain, and then I got the Super 7 reaction Alpha 5, and his arms are like this, one arm's like this, one arm's the other way, which is already like in this robot dance pose.
Sure.
So I'm like, oh, I have all these characters. I can recreate this.
That's awesome.
And, you know, having recently met Mike, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna make this because he's a toy collector too. He's into action figures. He loves the Ultimates Turtles. He's always like gushing about them. He's like, oh, that's Samurai Leo, like the details on the face mask are so cool. So I'm like, you know what, this is a cool project to try it out. So I tried to recreate the cover with only reaction figures because I didn't have Turtles and Power Rangers that were the same line, the same look, unless they were Turtle Rangers from Hasbro, which I wouldn't be able to produce this photo. So the reaction ones were the only ones where I really had 2 full teams. So I was able to recreate this with limited posing. But I think once I threw the logos on there, it made it look a little more official. So this is a diorama background by my friend Steven. He goes by 52420 on IG. My diorama that I use for a lot of reviews back in the day, all the reaction figures, some Mezco boom boxes, and you know, it was a lot of fun. So I was able to. How deep
do you go in reaction? Just certain lines, or you try to do
certain lines? And
yeah.
they make it so that they look good all together, which is why
Sure.
for a photo like this, where it's two different properties, they look like they're the same line, and it
Yep.
works. So I have the Power Rangers ones are awesome. The Simpsons ones, I'm so excited for all the Simpsons stuff that's going to be coming out from Super 7 that it's super cool. So I mean, you grew up with 3 3/4.
Well, I
vintage
collected the
scale.
original Simpsons line. Well, not the original, but the Playmates line that came out
Yeah.
years ago with all the voice tech stuff.
Yeah, you can get the Quickie Mart, and then you can stand
Yeah.
people in, and they would talk. The
Mhm.
Simpsons house. That was a good line. That was a very good line.
I think I'm complete on the first 3, waves
Of
or years.
course you
it.
are.
I know. It's like I have an obnoxious amount. Here's the trivia. Let's find a toy line that I don't have a decent collection of. That's the hard part.
My goodness. But yeah, I made a print of that photo, and
Awesome.
gave it to Mike today. So it was a lot of fun, and got this foil cover, very 90s for sure. And he has a
Very
background.
nice.
He has a background in breakdancing.
That's
So
awesome.
a lot of this stuff is kind of influenced like that. Super cool. All right, let's open. Why don't you pick something from your new pile, new wall?
My goodness. Oh, I know what I want to open. Well, it's not really an action figure, but it did bring me back because this was my jam back in the day. I still think it's one of the best 80s cartoon openings that they have. Thundercats, of course, is always awesome. Silverhawks is awesome, but I also thought C.O.P.S had a pretty fantastic opening.
Did you post this on IG? I remember someone posted this recently, and I
I
commented.
think I may have posted it about.
It's new, right?
Yeah, this is brand new. Well, we pre-ordered it a long time ago.
I didn't even know about it.
But this is the first new C.O.P.S, related item to purchase new since I think 1986.
Go with that
C.O.P.S
first. I want to see that.
So I had Dr. Bad Vibes, and I had Buttons McBoom Boom, and I had Long Arm.
Long
But
Arm
I
was my
never
favorite.
Yep. I never had Bulletproof or Big Boss here. So these two are still on my to-do list for the vintage collection. But this, you know what, if you are, putting on your, all the, I don't even know what you call channels like Tubi. Are they apps? Are they streaming networks? I mean,
streaming platforms.
I really don't know what to do when you Roku, you have all those free channels through Roku or whatever. So, Jason says, my good friend Eric Lee did the sculpting on these. Well, I love these. See, I have been actively into Smurfs lately, like vintage Smurfs. I am the opposite of a modern adult collector. It's kind of
okay,
and I'm fine with that. I want all things to be in 3 3/4. I want I don't care about screen accuracy. I don't care about points of articulation. See, I know I'm making a lot of people's skin crawl right now, but
yeah, a lot of people just left the
right
chat.
now I am actively, unsubscribing your channel right now as we speak. I like figurines. I like the vinyl stuff. I like muscles. I like, Beast Wars. Wow, how come I not think of it? What are the beasts that were Transformers related? They had the emblem on their chest.
The beasts that were Transformers
Oh my
related.
gosh,
That's
I
not
feel
Beast Wars.
Not Beast Wars. Battle Beasts. Wow, it took a while to get Battle Beasts.
Oh, there it is.
Anyway, small figurines. I just admitted we got a new episode. We got our year in review, our best of, a worst of Galaxy of Toys coming out here later this week, I think. And we did our year in review. It's our 10th one. And I confessed to everyone on there that I have a complete Care Bear collection. I have a complete Wuzzles collection, and I just ordered my last gummy bear. So these are all the vintage anamorphic bear type, lines. These things are not superposable. Neither are these, but
Nope.
there's something about them that I just absolutely adore.
That packaging looks so good that when I saw that picture on Instagram, I'm like, did someone just buy this like a vintage toy, like at a, I don't know,
Right?
flea market, and this is an old release? And they're like, no, this is brand new stuff. And is it weird to randomly get C.O.P.S stuff now?
100%. It's weird. Just like I bought last year or the year before. I think it's the year before. Remember they did those solid colored Dino Rider figurines that they did a Dino Rider set that's similar to this, but it wasn't painted. They were all, it was the two factions. And so I had to buy it just to support the fact that I love Dino Riders. I had to buy this because I love C.O.P.S and Crooks, So yeah, it's it's not the super articulated, highly posable,
Go for it.
detailed figures that most people are into. But I think I've mentioned it. Ryan is in the chat. I think I've mentioned it on Toy Anxiety. When I like to hang out with those guys, is I like toys that I can find in the toy aisle, because mostly, honestly, I grew up with toys that were in a toy aisle.
Of course.
Right? As a kid in the 80s, there was no such thing as the exclusive, the online exclusive, limited to, 5,000 or whatever. So Buttons McBoom Boom. Anyone who remembers the show?
What's his? Well, you don't like him very much.
Yep.
What's up, Courtney? Happy Thursday. What was his special power? So if you don't know C.O.P.S, the cartoon, were they from the future? They had to be,
Fighting
right?
time and fighting
in a
crime
future,
in future time.
That's right.
There
It's
it
in
is.
the tagline, Kevin. Come on.
Right.
But they had they were like the mods in Boba Fett. They had
100% great.
that was the whole gimmick. The chief BP vest. His name was Bulletproof Vest.
Bulletproofed. Yep. And he had,
I think there was a dog with a siren on its head. Am I remembering that correctly?
Absolutely correct. I have that one in normal form. So yeah, so Buttons McBoom Boom was the villain. He had machine guns that were part of his chest that can open up and
machine gun jubblies.
Right? 100%.
And yeah, the cello case with the Tommy gun inside.
Yep. 100%. There's Big Boss, the villain, who has his cybernetic cat creature with him. Yeah, had a
fighting
Winter
crime in
Soldier
future
hand.
time, but he was still like a 1920s mobster.
And then this is Dr. Bad Vibes. His brain is exposed through this dome here. So he's kind of a mad scientist that came with this like demented R2-D2 looking guy, of a droid. And then the other hero in this set was Long Arm, who had this ability to project this long handcuff. But yeah.
Just shot it out of his wrist thing. The long arm.
And you know what? That cartoon still holds up. The cartoon is quality. So, and not that you guys can see them, but they all stand very, very well. Like I said, I've been doing lots of Smurfs. I've been going to garage sales and toy shops and stuff and buying tons of Smurfs lately. I think I blame Steve Evans for that. Steve Evans is a Hasbro brand manager. And he's been on a huge Smurf kick lately, and so kind of inspired me. A lot of Smurfs can't stand up, so it's one problem.
I need that talking bass thing. What's it called?
Oh yeah, Comtech. You need your Comtech reader.
There's a toy show next month. It's supposed to be Star Wars themed, so maybe I can pick up a used one there. And
hey, look at that segue! Look at my shirt here. So there is a toy show, but on the
same one I was talking about.
Yeah, the Washington State Toy Show is one that's normally held in one of my hometown, Puyallup.
Oh,
But
that's
we're actually, what's that?
Puyallup.
I know
Okay.
everyone says Puy, but I like to tell people think about it, puke it all up. So it's pew all up,
Yeah,
right?
that'll be easy to remember.
Right? Puke it all up is what we called the rival high school. That was named Puyallup High School. But no, it is the Washington State Toy Show. This is the one I helped put on. Yeah, it's one of the largest in the region, in the Pacific Northwest. And we're actually moving out of the South Sound and moving up to the north. And we're going to do a show in Everett in mid-February. So definitely go and check that out if you are local, because it is a fantastic show.
How did you get involved in this this toy show and some of the other conventions that you are involved in?
Yeah. Well, the showrunner, his name is Steve. He's a good friend of mine now, but when he was putting together his first convention, so he runs another major event in the region. So we have Emerald City Comic Con as being our Seattle's major convention. And then the second major.
Yoko talk about that one a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Emerald City, it's, it ebbs and flows as being a good convention. The toys have definitely, they're on the downside right now. But to my point, he was setting up this. He wanted to start a convention of his own, and it's now grown to be a fantastic convention. Yep. No, those. Don't worry. That's not
okay. That's good.
That's meant to happen. Those arms are very, very weak, but they work. But they come off very easily. He started the Washington State SummerCon, and he had me on because he knew I podcasted. He knew I ran a site, and he, for his very first show, he wanted to have like an MC, and so he invited me on, and we became fast friends. And now I'm in charge of the celebrity interviews on the stage all these years later. So the first one was called the Toy and Geek Fest. But it was rebranded the next year as Washington State SummerCon, and we've been going ever since. And it's a really great show. And if you're in the Pacific Northwest, hopefully you've heard about it, and hopefully you've come, because Kevin Eastman was there last year. Ian McDermott was there last year. I've interviewed Carl Weathers and Tamara Morrison and Kate Sackhoff, and you name it in the Star Wars world. They know about SummerCon. Oh, nice. Yoko is usually a part of that as well. She just said, I'm not going this year. Oh,
Yoko.
Oh, no. It's usually Father's Day weekend.
We're going to Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con this year.
Oh, fun. Fun.
Courtney says Super 7 needs to get a hold of C.O.P.S in the Ultimates line. That would be cool. To get some of those accessories, or even reactions.
I'm always scared of the price when Ultimates come out, though. I am always fearful of the price.
No, I get you.
Yoko says she's not going to ECC. Got it.
Collecting Grid in the chat. How's it going? Captain Jack says, if I was a kid coming down the toy aisles today, I'm not sure if I'd be that excited. I think I'd mainly be into McFarlane DC. Okay, that's fair. Hopefully there's a lot of stuff out there for everybody on the shelves.
Well, I think when you're talking about the toy aisle, who dominates the toy aisle still in this day and age? It's not Star Wars. Star Wars has started to disappear from the toy aisle because it's all collectible. It's all collector lines. Like the TVC, as much as it's a great line, it's not necessarily a kid-friendly line, right? And the toy aisle is technically a kid zone, but some lines have decided that their space in the toy aisle has become a collector zone, right? And Star Wars is one of those. Star Wars has more adult collectibles than kid collectibles. Did you see today that Hasbro put out their kind of like mission statement piece on environmental If you go to Hasbro,
No.
you can see that they talked about why they've switched to plastic-free packaging, PFP, and some of their tenets that they want to subscribe to in the future, and how much waste they're trying to eliminate and whatnot, right?
Is this like Twitter or IG?
Yeah, Twitter had it for sure. I think I could send you. I have the link here. 1 second here. Yeah.
Hasbro. Is it Hasbro or Hasbro Pulse that had it?
I think it's
don't know if there's a
Hasbro.
difference.
Hasbro. Okay, I got it here. Let's see. I'll put it in the chat to you, or put it on Insta.
Oh, thank you. Courtney's here. Courtney's the one who helped me get this Tuscan Raider Sand Person, whichever one is PC.
Politically correct. Yeah, they talk about going plastic free in their lines, but they understand that for some of their retro, their classic lines, packaging is part of the product. And they pointed out retro and the vintage collection. And I thought that was interesting because, you know, what is the Black Series if not a collector's line? So I thought it was fascinating that they decided that the 6-inch line was not a collectible line, but the vintage collection and the retro was. You know what I'm saying?
Take it out and play with line, I guess.
Yeah, but it just seems too expensive to do that, especially with the new price raises that we're getting every couple of weeks, right?
Right. It's worse here. That's why when you see a $10 War Machine, you know, you get a $10 War Machine.
100%.
All right, I have that report that you showed here. Let's see.
Playing with purpose. All right. You glance that over. I'll be right back.
Planet, sustainable design, carbon reduction, play. This is a lot of reading. This is a lot. Our mission. Where's Yoko? I need Yoko to read everything. The message from our CEO. Chief Purpose Officer. She's in charge of dolphins. Yeah, I'm not going to read on stream. Wait for Jake to come back and give us the Cliff Notes version. All right, I'm going to take a look at this Sand Person. I have a vintage. I don't know if it's vintage. I think it's maybe Power of the Force. Jake will know. Power of the Force Bantha with actual woolly wool fur. Oh no, Kevin's Kryptonite. There's too many words. I was getting stressed out as a whole PDF. 129 pages, like a company mission statement. I don't work for them. I don't want to read that. You guys don't want to see me read on stream. It's a mess. It's a mess. Brick Something says, if I were a kid today and I was the rare kid into the toys, I'd be all about Fortnite. Yeah, that's the thing, right? I have like nieces and nephews, and I'm like, they're not really into toys. They're into Fortnite. But I don't think Fortnite toys are made for Fortnite, like those kids that play Fortnite. It's very specifically like you play Fortnite and you're an action figure collector. Again, it may be that I'm in my own bubble here, but I don't see Fortnite players be like, oh, I'd love a toy of this. Yeah, I couldn't read. There was a lot of stuff there about.
There's a lot there, but
it's 129 pages.
Yeah, no, there's a lot to look over, but you know, it does tell you about how much time and energy they're putting into planet and, you know, sustainability. And so I know a lot of people have really put them. There's the Star Wars piece.
Oh, here,
there.
this is a nice simple graphic that I can get behind.
Yeah, so this is the part where they're telling you what they've trying to eliminate: shrink wrapping, poly bags, window sheets, blisters, and elastic bands, which, you know, that's all fine for me. But here's where they talk about, where do they say, retro and collectibles. with collectible lines like our 3 3/4 Star Wars vintage and retro action figure line. So I just thought it was interesting that they did not think that 6-inch is a collectible line,
Hmm.
which is why they've transitioned it to PFP.
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of these retro cards, and it's definitely part of the aesthetic, right? They put the care to make it look a certain way that if you remove that plastic bubble, it's not really that same look that they're going for, right? And it's that nostalgia that's going to get people to buy
Well,
12 Boba Fett's.
what was the statistic that article came out where it quoted us as kidults that are supporting what 25% of the
25%.
industry? 25%, I think. So,
Yep.
yeah, no, for sure. They're definitely wanting to ride that. But I guess the pushback I would have on Hasbro for that is like, if you were a quarter of your business is relied on nostalgia, well, that's a pretty limited, years of growth you have there, because, as someone who would be, I think, thinking about the future, right? I mean,
Mhm.
I used to teach a class called, oh gosh, what do we call it? We called it, it had a couple fancy names throughout the time, but shoot, when I taught high school a long time ago, we called it, shoot. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. But
What was the topic?
yeah, the topic I was going to go is absolutely a social studies department. But it was all about how the media, manipulates you into purchasing things. And man, what was it called? I cannot believe I can't.
The study of enablers throughout history and time. That's
pretty much
that's the one.
Pretty much. But it went on to talk about how, you want to build lifelong consumers. And that's why, in the 80s, you used to have beer commercials that were cartoons, Disney-esque animated cartoons, right?
Right.
Because when a kid becomes of age, they want to, try a beer for the first time. They're going to go with that awesome cartoon they remember, like
Crazy.
Ham's the Beer Refreshing, where the bear is in the forest with all his little Disney bear friends, You're going to want to gravitate toward that one, right? So, the fact that, every woman, in the world right now expects to be given a diamond solitaire when she gets engaged. Well, how did that happen? Well, a few years, back in the day, De Beers went to all the film studios and said, "Hey, I heard you're having an engagement scene in your film. Could you provide? Could we give you a diamond that you would then let your lead in your show propose with?" And they went, "Sure, why? We'll help you. He goes, "We'll help you fund your movie if we give you your the diamond, and you say it's a a diamond solitaire." Well, that became the norm now, and it's like the expectation. Whereas before De Beers hit the movie studios, you can give a girl a pearl, you can give her a jade, a sapphire, whatever. There was no expectation that it would be a diamond solitaire, right? So of course that led the prices of diamonds to skyrocket, and here where we are, 70 years later. So it's all, manipulation by the media. So yeah. So
I could see that.
It's driving me crazy.
Yoko.
I can't think of that line. I clearly did not sleep enough last night. My wife's out of town on business, so I'm doing everything. I'm running the kids to and back from all their things, and we have a 2-parent schedule, and I'm currently down to 1 parent, so my mind is everywhere. But
do you find we spoke earlier, your children are older
12,
than mine.
So I got a 6th grader and a sophomore.
Right. So compared to where I'm at now, would you say when they're at the age of your kids now, do you have more time for yourself to collect? I know you got to run the site, you have work, all this other stuff. Do you find they're more independent and self-sufficient that you can do more stuff. I'm just trying to get a gauge for the
Yeah,
future.
you're like, is there a light at the end of this tunnel right now?
Yeah.
I get where
what
you're
am
going.
what am I in for?
No, it's interesting because there is definitely a different balance of time. Whereas I was still, doing, I mean, bedtime can take an hour easy, when your kids are your age, right?
Yeah.
But you get kids my age, it's now soccer game takes an hour and a half, right? And then it's an hour and a half before, after school. And so now what does dinner look like? Is it dinner on the run? Is it going home and then doing dinner? And then,
Oh my
then
God.
is it homework time? So there is a different, but there's no bedtime routines anymore. Kids come down, go, good night, I'm going to bed. I was like, okay, turn your phone into my room and go to bed. Right. So there is a different way that time is balanced now. Like, so many. My daughter's in the symphony. My boy's in the band. My boy plays soccer. My daughter takes private lessons on the French horn. So like we're coming and going. She's in the school play. He's volunteering at the school dance. I mean, there's just different. There's lots of time, but there's not.
Okay. So basically, I'll just be doing live streams while they're doing whatever activity they're at, and I'll be like, I'm in the car.
Yeah,
I'll just stream. I'll just stream from there.
Well, I've always done my writing when I wrote a lot for the site. I would always do it after they went to bed. So it was always 9:30 or later. I don't sleep much. I'm one of those weird people. I mean, like, honestly, for 20 years, I've gone to bed at midnight and woken up at 5:15. So I need about 5 hours of sleep. And so,
That's rough.
No, but that's how I function. So it's, I honestly think I'm that small percentage of people that can go without those 7 to 8 to 9 hours. Because even on the weekend, when I don't have to wake up, I still wake up after 5 hours. So,
damn. Matthew said, we grew up in a time where properties relied on toy sales or were made to generate toy sales. It's different for kids today. Yeah, I mean, like, you look at G.I. Joe and things like that, Transformers.
Well, I also think about the fact that when I was a kid, we only had 13 stations. I mean, that makes me feel like the oldest person I've ever sounded like right now. But, we had 1 through 13 essentially growing up.
Right.
I mean, when in the early 80s, you had 13. And so guess what? In the morning, you either watched the Smurfs or Looney Tunes or, Transformers. It wasn't like you had 400 channels worth of options to, get behind. And so, everyone knew Star Blazers because it was the only anime show on TV, right? Media and Society. Oh my gosh, that's the name of the class I taught. I don't know why.
There we go.
I don't know why that did not stick in my brain. So
microeconomics. I don't think that was the name of the class. Hey, what's up, Eddie Rodriguez? What is this diamond ring you speak of? I've never heard of this foreign language.
Good. Don't have to. Hey, but because of that, guess what? My wife's a school teacher too. And we both taught Media and Society. And so when I proposed to her, I did not give her a diamond ring, and she was so happy.
Man,
I know, we're both Scorpios, and so we did November's birthstone. So
it's a good loophole, everyone.
Right?
Or just take the class together with your future betrothed, I guess.
Well, here's if I have anything to say about marriage, it's like spend less on the wedding and more on the honeymoon. Because that is the wedding is, you're not going to remember it because it's too much in one day. But the honeymoon is usually a nice long vacation that you need.
It'll be interesting to see how the windowless packaging will affect Black Series sales during the first quarter of release.
I am curious about that, but what is the percentage of people who keep Black Series carded or boxed versus those who take it out to fill a shelf and or photograph? And Hasbro definitely loves their photographers, so I don't know.
Yeah, they're out there, but yeah, you're right. What's the percentage there, and how would that affect the sales for that line? I personally don't see a point in keeping Black Series mint on card? Because if it's something like retro cards or vintage collection, that stuff I think makes sense. But that's my personal taste.
No.
Do you know how this thing works? Does this
Okay,
pop out
so-
or is it a twist?
So I think you spin his dome, and it should lower the. Is that
The
working?
dongle?
Oh, what are you trying to do? Sorry, the middle leg or the?
The middle leg, but this looks like this opens too, right? Do you just flick it? Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yep, that, and then it should have an arm that comes out. Yep. There you
Nailed
go.
it. Didn't even need instructions. And then this part comes out of the top
So you
somewhere.
should
Oh, there's a
take
missing
that-
hole here.
Yep.
Oh, this plastic.
No, you're gonna pop out the plastic piece and then replace that.
No, there's a plastic tie here that's stuck. There we go. Okay. I can do this. This is easy.
You could tell you have a old figure since you just took off an elastic band.
Yeah. That's extra plastic. Oh, you have to rotate it to the right spot where the little scanner can go all the way down. Everyone. Okay. You don't
There
need
you go.
instructions. Sweet. Got a
Should
nice
I order?
basic R2.
I'm gonna open Batgirl. I found Batgirl just yesterday.
What Batgirl?
Okay, so
Oh, okay.
So this DC Universe line has come out with I don't even know properly what they call this line anymore, because it takes many forms. They change package refreshes about every 8 months. There's a new package refresh on this line, but I love it. I love it because it reminds me of a simple era of collecting superhero toys in the 80s, right?
Is there like a
Super
surprise accessory?
Accessory. I don't know about that, but yes,
netted.
you have 3 accessories here, and the first few waves that
3.
came out, there's chase colors. So I'm thankful that Spin Master doesn't have Star Wars, because some people talked about it when these figures first came out. They were like, Hasbro's not doing great with the line. We should give it to someone like Spin Master. Well, Spin Master is all about their chase figures, and so that's a whole nother thing. Star Wars has dabbled in chase figures in the past. Ultimate Galactic Hunt was a handful of years ago, probably a decade at this point. But and first day of issue stickers they did on some figures was another thing that they did once upon a time. But these guys here, they'll have a Batgirl that comes with weapons that are themed for like fighting Joker in a chemical lab, and then she'll come with a different set of colored accessories for fighting Dr. whoever, or Mr. Freeze or whatever, right? So Spin Master goes crazy. So let's see if we can figure out who we have. I'm actually going to start with the accessories, and they've got this little perforated section back here where you can just rip them open.
Oh, that's a fun way to open it up. That's cool.
So there you go. So let's see. I have a katana blade, it looks like. A brown tannish one. I have a very large batarang, larger than the sword. That's a two-handed batarang there.
It's almost a bow.
Right? And then I have a Joker-themed grappling hook.
That's a pretty cool accessory. Is it glow in the dark? It looks like glow material.
It looks, we might need to light it up a little bit more. Here, let's put it next to the light and let's see what happens.
Oh, Ryan Dole, hot take: Hasbro should cancel the Star Wars Black Series.
That is his calling card here. Oh, it does glow. It does glow.
Nice.
That is a glow in dark accessory there. All right.
Classy. What's going on?
This is what we want right here. This will tell us our variants. So in the bottom of the package should have a little paper. Yep. This is going to tell us what we got. This is why I like these. You kind of like, even though you know what you're getting a Batgirl, but all right. So on the front half, it gives you pictures of characters, I think, in the assortment.
Okay.
And then, well, well, this one's a little unusual. So here's the top half. It just lists the characters in the assortment, right? And it's hard to see, but lists the characters in the assortment. But look at the bottom half. It's all question marks.
Why even bother printing that?
I don't know.
What the heck?
Normally, they tell you
is it
kind
a
of like,
sticker you can peel off or something? Like
right?
peel and reveal?
It says accessory surprises on the side.
Oh my god, who planned this?
That was not well. It does say that these are super rare, so there are some super rares here. So it looks like this version of Joker is super rare, and this version of Bats is super rare or rare, super rare and rare. I saw you collecting Pokemon, so you know about rarities.
Oh
my son and I do Pokemon too.
Oh, you do that too, man?
Well, we don't play, but we do collect.
I don't play.
We don't play, but we do put them in. Our goal is to get one at least of every Pokemon. And about 3-4 pre-COVID, we did a count. We had 700 of the almost 900 Pokemon. So
nice.
So we've been working on Silver Tempest, getting some new cards from that. The next one is due out, I think,
tomorrow.
Next week. Oh, is it tomorrow?
It's tomorrow. Get your pre-orders ready. My kids got into it. They're young and they know what it. So they're just collecting to get cards. And I was never into it, but I saw the cool artwork on some of the stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna buy it just to collect those, and you kids can have the rest. And earlier this week, I ripped some packs with my friend Nose Rain, Richie.
Yeah.
And I opened the Japanese V-Star universe, and I got this secret special art rare Simisear. Like, this is the funniest artwork Pokemon that I've ever seen.
That is pretty fantastic.
It was a lot of fun to grab that on the live. There's some of these Japanese trainer gallery cards. Most of the time, I don't even know the name.
Did you buy a box of Japanese?
Yeah, I bought a box from a local person here. So a lot of the artwork from this set will be in Crown Zenith.
Yeah.
And I know my daughter's going to want this, but she's not going to watch this episode. So we're good. She'll never see it. She'll never see it. And I got some
cards are so nice, aren't they?
Yeah, this is all I go for.
So I am incredibly too old and not the right age for Pokemon at all. Being born in the 70s. But I was dating a girl when Pokemon came out in the late 90s, and she taught kindergarten. And the kindergartners were all about it. And so in order to connect with, and I was volunteering. I wasn't a teacher then. What was I doing? I think I worked for Merrill Lynch. I was a benefits analyst. And so on days I called in or didn't have work, I would go volunteer in her classroom. And the kids were all about Pokemon. So I was like, well, why don't we go buy some Pokemon packs and, have some on hand and play with the kids and learn how to play or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So, I bought a bunch during that time and then just threw them in a box. And then years later, I had a kid who then somehow got into Pokemon via school. And my boy is pretty darn smart. So he would take commons and trade them for foils and rares and whatever. And so he started bringing home all these,
nice
EXs and GXs. And I'm like, where did you are you sure this kid gave you this? He's like, yeah, I just traded 2 commons. He liked the name. And I was like, right on, kid. As long as your parents aren't going to call me, I don't care what you do.
That'd be my kids trading them away, the nice cards. So were you really proud at that moment as a collector? You're like, you got a future in this kid.
I didn't know you liked Pokemon. So I go into the garage and I pull out this box that's been, has dust on it. All right, kid, well, and then we start going through it and we start getting into it. I'm like, oh, that's a first edition. That's a first edition. Oh, maybe we should put these in binders.
Yeah. Did you get anything graded?
No. My cousin is deep into grading right now. He's set to get a bunch of graded cards back. But
wow.
I'm a toy collector from the 70s and 80s. I believe in opening toys and playing with toys. And so, can you tell all these packaged toys back here? But no. I believe in opening stuff, and so I only have I don't do any of the grading. I don't have a single graded figure, and I have one graded comic book, and it's only because I thought I should. I met Jim Lee, and I got him to sign his first ever work at Marvel, because I started reading X-Men back when he was doing comic books
Right.
for Marvel. So I thought, you know what? I'll have him sign his very first work, which is an issue of Alpha Flight, Canada's superhero team, right? Was
Represent.
Jim Lee's first ever work at Marvel. And so since I had him sign it, I was like, you know what? I want to go through the grading process. I paid my $70 to have the guy witness the signature. He mailed it away, and then I got it back 4 months later, graded at a 9 something, whatever. So that's my only experience. It didn't bring me any extra joy having it slabbed. So I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. I have lots of comic books. I have Kevin Eastman signed books. I've had, Ron Lim signed books. I've got Scott Snyder. I've got, all the guys that come to the shows, but it doesn't add anything to me personally to have it slabbed. So same thing with a toy, for me, having a website that reviews Star Wars figures, if I had it graded, how am I going to review that figure properly if it's, in glass?
Buy another.
Well, heavens knows we don't need that. My biggest complaint with these guys, my biggest complaint with this DC line is their capes. I understand that's why they can still charge $7-8, that they use cheaper plastic, and not better material for the capes, but that's my only complaint.
Yeah, so I'm rearranging the room in here. I have this coffee table behind me. The lower part of the coffee table was dropped down to have bigger clearance in there, and I have the DC Collectibles animated series Batcave. My dream was to have like a full Batcave down there with a bunch of different Batmobiles. That never panned out. And now I want to get rid of this coffee table because it's kind of in the way. And I put up a poll today on my IG stories. I was like, should I sell this thing or put it in storage? And maybe I'll want it later because it's a nice piece. And it kind of goes for crazy money right now. But am I going to regret selling that thing? But if you're watching now, what would you do? Let me know in the comments. Would you sell this? I mean, it has an exclusive Alfred.
Yep. Sure does. And it's 3 3/4, right?
Yours?
Your line?
No, that's the 6-inch animated series.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, the animated series. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big piece just hanging around here.
If you're a collector of that line, I don't know. I would say hold on to it. I have a few lines that every once in a while makes a poor decision and wants money right away or wants something different.
Yeah.
I regret selling a few collections in my life for sure.
Yeah. What's your biggest regret that you've sold?
I sold all my original Clash of the Titans. I sold all my Dukes of Hazzard. I sold all my MASH. I sold all my Rambo. These are all 80s lines.
I have a Rambo. The Jeep. Yeah.
No, I'm. Those are the big ones. I'm sad about. I just
hear it in your voice. I'm sorry.
Right?
I'm sorry.
No, I know.
I have the Jeep. I feel like an asshole because you're like I feel like you're reminiscing as you're saying it. You're like, oh, all the fun.
No,
times.
I've been slowly building some of them back. Some of them.
Nice.
But not all of them. I sold off some of my Marvel Universe 3 3/4 line because I was like, you know what, this line's too big. And when it was coming out, when that line was hitting hard, do you remember the 3 3/4 Marvel line, Marvel Universe? It was coming out fast and furious, and it was coming out the Fast and Furious, not the movie, but the same time Star Wars was coming out crazy, and I was like, I just can't keep up with these two lines. So you know what? I'm going to focus back to just X-Men. So I'm just going to keep the X-Men. And I sold off a lot of the big figures, and then the MCU hit, and it just reignited my love for Marvel, and now I regret selling off the the non X-Men figures for that Marvel
Right.
Universe line. But
Yeah, there was a lot of good stuff from Marvel Universe, and they made a pretty good fan base with that line. Jake? Do you have this set
100% I do.
opened
Actually,
or?
actually, that's one of my featured reviews. I don't YouTube as much as I should, but that is the review of that set that I got at Galaxy's Edge. And you went to Galaxy's Edge just recently, right?
Yeah, November, I believe.
Yeah. Was that your first time?
I've been to California one before, and then this was the first time in Florida.
World. Yeah.
Yeah, like because this came off in the package, and it
Yeah.
you know
That
they
whole
have this
thing.
detail there. Is it supposed to?
Well,
or-
these are part of the Droid Factory. So his head's going to come off. You can pop his head off, I believe. Yep.
Oh,
His
okay.
head comes off, his arms come off, and his body
Oh.
detaches because this is the whole Droid Factory line. So,
Ooh.
I got a small brag to say. I think I'm behind this last few months, but I have been collecting Disney Droid, the Build-A-Droid line since 2012, and I'm complete. And I can't find a single other site online that has every figure. So
That's 3 3/4.
yeah,
Build-A-Droid?
3 3/4 line, yeah.
Okay.
So it started off Disney just was having Hasbro make them for them, and then after a while they decided to rent the license from them instead of having Hasbro, and then they rented the name Droid Factory. So Hasbro is essentially renting out the Droid Factory 3 3/4 line to Disney, but Disney in 2000 and I want to say 15 made their own sculpts. So now they're just renting the name and not the actual sculpts. But prior to 2015, they were using Hasbro sculpts, if that makes sense.
So Hasbro
So
gets the
Hasbro
Star Wars
back
license.
in the day
Yeah.
during the Legacy Collection, you bought a figure, you'd get a droid part,
Right.
right? And then you buy all 4 figures in that line, or 4 or 5 figures in that line, and you can put together and make an extra droid, right?
Right.
Well, Disney, after Hasbro stopped that line, Disney rented those molds and made them park exclusives.
Oh, that's cool.
And so they had the Droid Factory went to Disney only. So if you wanted to have a Droid Factory, build a droid figure, you would have to get it at the Disney parks.
Whoa.
This is how insane I was on it. There was they debuted a whole line of Disney debuted a whole line of Droid Factory protocol droids, because normally it was only astromech droids like these guys. That one night they debuted a line of protocol droids during Star Wars Celebration at Walt Disney World. Man, I want to say this is 2015, 17, somewhere around there. And they debuted it at the Disney Night event. You know how Disney sometimes has those evening events, right?
Yeah.
So Star Wars at night, I bought a ticket to this 4-hour event, closed the Disney parks, right? It was until, 12 or 1. I spent half of that time building protocol droids that they had debuted that night. So when I should have been off watching Alan Tudyk, talk about filming Rogue One or whatever, because there was like a crowd of like 30 around him, because he had these little interview spots. You can go meet stars and whatnot. I was over here building protocol droids for most of the time. It was frantic because you had to find the left leg, the right leg, the left arm, the right arm, the head, and the torso. And so you were trying to figure out how many different combinations there were. It was a problem.
They got you.
Oh yeah, they got me for sure. Captain Jack said, "Did you get the advent calendar?" And my answer is yes. I got 2.
Yeah, I passed on that. And there was
Get
another
it now
question.
though. Get it now. It
Yeah?
was 70. Now it's down to 35 in the parks.
Oh, in the parks. I'll hit up Ernie.
Well, a lot of people are flipping it for that online. So
It says 60, and then the sticker under used to say 50. Rick Jones. but still
That's
cool.
the worst part. That's the worst part about Disney. Having been a former Disney cast member, I know about the price structure. They will try out price points. They will try out. So that's why it said 50. And if it starts to sell really well, they'll slap 60 on it.
These are cool though, because if you're into photography and building out scenes and dioramas, you can have like, it's good to have a set of droids, but you can have them like in various states of maintenance and things like that, and just open them up.
And they're all interchangeable.
There's a vintage collection Gonk droid that has the same feature like this with the removable storage tote that this top piece is. So yeah, these are a lot of fun, and I think Hasbro or in this case,
well, these are Disney. Yeah,
Disney, yes. But these droids, I think it's like they're really fun to collect and have a whole series of them too.
No, they're fantastic because they're providing the droids that Hasbro does not do now. Like Hasbro has only made R1 droids, so that's the tall, dark one there. That the tall, pointy one. Yeah, so that's R1. That one was the one that was outside of the Sandcrawler when the purchase of the droids happened, right?
Oh wow.
Those two astromechs are just made up droids that Hasbro hasn't done. The big loader droid is from the sequels. That big, the one that looks not like the others, the big orange one, yellow one.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, that one's from the sequels, awesome. And Hasbro's never made that droid, so it's the droids that the Disney parks put out are droids that Hasbro is not putting out. So it's kind of sad, but it's indicative of the Star Wars line right now. Very few new characters.
Thanks for I didn't know that that's the deal with these droids for Disney parks. That's very cool, because when I look at this and I see the style of the droids inside, I automatically assumed it was Hasbro vintage product.
Yeah, no, I have a whole database on my website, Disney Parks Droid Factory database that you can find, and I break down piece by piece and when it was released and so on. So I think if you go to
Droid Factory, right, build a droid guide.
Yep. So it'll explain when it was released, what was it exclusive to, because they do a lot of events that started in 2012 in the Star Tours, but they do a lot of exclusives, like Disney World Disney turned 60 this year, right? Disneyland. So they did an exclusive one, and they do one for D23s. And sometimes they'll do some for, they always do a Halloween droid and a Christmas droid. Last couple of years, they've done Pride Day droids, so there's all sorts of.
Oh, I got one of those.
Yeah.
I went to the Disney outlet. It was like $6 and I grabbed a few of them.
The Pride droid?
Yeah.
From this year, right? The blue round one.
BB-8.
So that one, unfortunately, is super common. The one the year before goes for hundreds of dollars because,
my goodness,
it was just not as available.
Look at these accessories,
right? Aren't those great?
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay, now I need some of these. I need that Yoda hat. I think my friend DK built me one when he went, and I have a set of Mickey ears. I should.
So the Mickey ears were the most common. These ones kind of had a small window, the Goofy hat and the Yoda ears. And the funny thing is that Yoda ears is based on a real. So this is when Hasbro was doing the line. So these are all Hasbro sculpts that they released exclusive to the parks, because that's how this line started. And it's Hasbro. And here's the trick. You see the little wires on the feet? They had a left foot and a right foot. Whereas when Disney decided to redo the sculpts, so they for themselves, they made one generic foot,
one mold.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a smarter business decision, but it's less accurate.
They're like, do we piss off a small percentage of Star Wars fans or save a whole bunch of money? This Yoda droid is fantastic. What's that going to run me if I wanted these down?
Ooh, that's a good question, because that's just a accessory piece. So
Okay.
it could, you don't have to buy the whole droid typically to get that piece. So
Well, I'm going to be hitting up eBay after this stream. Let's see. What's the chat saying real quick? What's the big yellow droid? That's the loader.
yeah.
Next week, Kevin has to ask Dante about getting a comic Witnesses and graded at New York Comic Con. I was there with him, and it's a pretty fun. All right, I'll check that out with Dante next week. Do not sell it? What am I not selling? Grumps.
Don't sell.
Oh, the Batcave. The Batcave, yes. Figure Fan Nate is a very talented toy photographer, and he has the Batcave set, and he makes really good use of it. It's fun. It's got a huge backdrop of like the rocks in the cave and stuff, so it's cool.
I don't doubt that makes a beautiful, beautiful scene for photography.
Oh, I am behind, Yoko. Sorry. Let's see. Clash of the Titan figures are pretty common. I see them at shows, says Rick Jones. I didn't even...
All right. I got a Droid Factory with Yoda hat ears for $24 right here on eBay. You got 35 and you can get one of each 8 hats. So you get to choose, it looks like. There's a couple on here where you can either get the droid that has the hat or you can get the collection of hats.
I'd probably go for just the hats. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yoko, Yeah, what are you going to open?
Zartan. I am... This series is such a... it's weird, right? This series is weird. I know you do Reaction. And Reaction are all built in the Star Wars action figure, the Kenner action figure design, right? This is even this card here has got the racetrack, right? This is what every Star Wars action figure has, right? Let's see.
And he will prove it to us right now.
So Star Wars design, right? This is the new prototype Luke Skywalker retro card that came out this last week, finally shipped.
Do you collect every variant of those?
I do. It's a problem. I know. Send help. It's a problem. So far, I have 4 of the 6 Lukes that I need, but I have 2 or 4 more on the way. So yes, I do get. Well, here's the thing. It's made a lot easier since Vader. Vader was the first one they ever did, and they did every combination. So that was like, I think it was like 46 or 32 combinations, right? Between these color patterns. And then this is, again, I have a problem. I'm fully admitting it.
That's the first step.
Right? They had 2 different shades of green. So at some point they changed from a dark green to a light green. I mean, it is noticeable. It's night and day. It would be like if these were 2 different greens, right? So it was noticeable. And so a lot of people are like, well, crap, now I have to get all the dark green and the light green, whatever. After that, they simplified the process and they only made 6 versions. They only made 6 versions. So now, because there's 6 colors, you have 6 versions. That's as simple as it is now. So I get 6 of each of these, or I try to. There's some that's harder than others. But so, okay, we all know that this is the style of figure card back, and that Kenner started and Hasbro's continued. Well, Reaction has adopted that with most of its lines. Most of its lines has the racetrack, has the figure on the side, has the card art, has the logo up high, right? But the ironic thing about this is the fact that the thing that made G.I. Joe amazing was its super articulation. And these figures have 5 POA. So it is so weird to buy an $18 5 POA G.I. Joe figure. It hurts my brain almost because it's not right. But the reason I do it, I'm not all in on this line, but I love Sunbow cartoons so much that when I see figures and the fact that this one does change color, I had to have this guy here.
Yeah, I mean, G.I. Joe isn't really my thing, but I know a lot of my friends who, when they see that stuff, they just kind of, it all comes back for them.
Mhm.
The characters, the episodes. So it's definitely working for some of those fans.
Well, what I have found that I like to do is, because I collected Joe so hard and heavy in the 80s and 90s, I buy typically the ones Hasbro didn't make. Now, this is an
Right.
exception to the rule because he's got the unique color changing, right? But for the most part, I buy the new versions of figures from the Sunbow cartoon that Hasbro never made. So all the Snakelings and the Navy Troopers and whatever, those guys Hasbro never did. So I build these and I buy those ones.
That's cool. That's a good mix. I'm just trying to rip off parts as I go here, and I'm just finding out more and more things are coming off, like the arms or legs. Would you call these?
Both legs,
and the front, the third leg.
Yep, that should come
also
in.
Comes out.
That should come into 5 parts. So you should take the head, the body, and all 3 legs.
So much fun. I've been erroneously calling these vintage collection this whole time, but these are just the scale.
Hold on, I can probably show you something. All right, pause.
We have soju. Are we going soju tonight? No, we're not going soju tonight. I gotta get up early tomorrow and pick up Pokemon cards. A bin has now entered the stream. Which bin is this? Which tote is this?
This is every Disney Build-A-Droid that's been released to date. So,
no way.
Oh yeah, Disney. Again, when you're a Disney, well, look at here. Look familiar? There you go.
Yoko, I need help. I need help grabbing droids, please.
So you have this guy, R1, in front of you.
Right?
He was the inspiration from when the Mandalorian prison scene, and they had those floating guys that during the prison escape. That's a modified R1 that floats down the.
That's the one. From vintage collection.
Nope, these are Disney. These are all Disney Build-A-Droids. Okay. Yep. So, see, remember this guy from Mandalorian? The
boatsman, I guess.
Yep. So yeah,
I have that pack.
Yep, you have this one.
Yeah, a friend of mine hooked me up with it.
Holiday droids galore. There's the reindeer.
Antlers? No way.
There's the witch from Halloween.
All right, I need that advent calendar. Dang.
Here is, well, that's not even the advent calendar. The advent calendar is over there. I'll have to get that.
Yeah,
but
I'm sure there's more stuff.
Here's a Clone Wars era droid. It's kind of a weird one. You have
very sci-fi looking. That one.
Yeah, glow in the dark Halloween one from a few years ago. What's another cool one? Oh, here's a classic. This was early on in this line. How about Jedi Mickey?
Oh, I have some of the crossover ones. I think I have a Chippendale Stormtrooper set.
Yeah, so those were the figurine lines. Those aren't articulated, but this was an articulated one that came with Mickey's Jedi Starfighter and Mickey's droid that's colored like him. Yeah, no, this line is pretty awesome. I love this line. And all of these are, this is this a Rogue One droid? I think this is a Rogue One droid. Here's a holographic droid from one of Disney's anniversaries.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, no, there's oh, here's some hats. What do we got?
Here's some hats.
Sombreros. We got Imperial caps. We got Mickey ears. Yeah. Oh, there's your Yoda hat. There's your Goofy hat and your Indy sombrero and your Captain Jack. Yeah,
it's so
this line-
ridiculous. It's like they're hats for
Right?
droids.
right? There's your Fantasia hat.
Sweet.
Yeah, no, this line is a fun line if you're a Disney fan and B a droid fan, and see if you like getting droids or getting characters who Hasbro doesn't put out in the main line. You know, I do see a lot of money left on the table by Hasbro's choices. You know, I know
Yeah,
I
they
work
have
with Hasbro. I work with Hasbro, obviously, to do Q&As and promote their materials. And once in a while, I receive, boxes from them of toys, But that doesn't make me, immune to putting criticism out there when I see things happening. I do think that, the beloved vintage collection here is limiting. I mean, obviously, this is limiting to the point of what you can do, because look you just opened a Comtech droid. There's no accessory in here that's not part of the figure, right? There's no pack-in.
Right.
So Star Wars has done coins. They've done, figurines. They've done contact chips. They've done stands. They've done molded stands. There is so many. They've done a rolling card game, right? A dice. They've done so many things. But with the vintage collection, you can't do any of that. You can't have that extra level of fun with this, because the vintage collection fans decided that this needed to be a super articulated figure. And the reason I say that is because they had a less articulated figure set to come out, and fans threw such a big fit that they canceled the figure. Darth Revan was going to come out, but they didn't update Darth Revan's sculpt, and it was only like 10 points of articulation instead of like the 25 that this is or whatever. And they revolted and they said, okay, we'll cancel the figure. And he never came out. So this has, because of packaging aesthetics and because of the bubble size and because of what the vintage collection represents, it really is limiting to what you can get from a 3 3/4 line.
Okay, I see.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So as a lifelong 3 3/4 collector, I don't care if they're on this packaging or on Phantom Menace packaging or on whatever. I just want my figure. But it definitely decreases the amount of things that I can get. That's why the Droid Factory from Disney provides me things that Hasbro can't, because they don't do Build Droids anymore. They don't do pack-ins. They don't do, crazy background characters like Disney can.
It's put into the articulation and packaging. What's up, Ernie, the Fallen Vet? My friend Ernie, if you're at the parks again, please help me get a Droid Factory advent calendar if you can find one, along with the Carson Teva badge that you offered to pick up for me and then forgot about, and then we reminded you about on stream. Please, Ernie, thank you. It'd be a lot of help. Let me know what I owe you if you see it. I am PayPal ready. Ryan Dole says, I'm with Jake. Just give me the damn toy. Keep your pants on, Ryan. I know you take your pants off for unboxing toys. I was there. We did an episode together. I'm moving more into vintage. I have Razor Crest. I've backtracked on because I passed at first. And then I'm looking for a stand for the X-Wing, because right now it's just sitting on the floor, but I'm looking for an acrylic stand that can prop it up and put it on top of a DTOF. That'll be nice, and R2 can go in there without sliding out.
I haven't brought my Razor Crest in yet, but I do have the cell barge over here on the side.
Oh, nice.
This is your advent calendar.
I saw it at the park. I didn't pick it up. I was being silly. Because look at that power droid you were just playing with. So they decoed it like a Christmas present. Oh, come on. Is that this year's set?
That's this set.
Ernie,
please. This is the
Ernie,
first
go
advent
now.
calendar they've done. So here's a little elf guy you get. And here's,
Gonk
I assume, a
present.
little,
That is so cool.
little nutcracker, I'd
Nutcracker?
assume. Yeah. And then you got a chopper droid that's kind of Star Wars colored. And then this
And
was
he's dabbing.
just kind of a present. This kind of seasonal colored. And this
Do you
is
care about
spoiler.
these?
What's that? I passed on those because they don't make sense to me. Because
that's fair.
no, because the accessories are not linked to the figure,
Nope.
and the creature is not linked to the figure.
Yeah.
And it just, I mean, the only one this year I wanted to buy, but I never found because it never showed up around here, was that stormtrooper that looked like the skeleton. I was
the Halloween
I
ones.
was going to buy the Halloween one the second I saw it, but never saw it.
That sucks. Damn college kids. What's up? Sammy Delco says, dang, it's like worlds colliding in here. All the YouTube and podcasts.
I know,
folks,
Sammy.
I know.
Welcome,
That's the
Sammy.
beauty. Sorry, go ahead.
Here's a spoiler on this year's Galaxy of Toys review, year in review. We always do the best and worst figures, and this was the nomination for my worst non-Star Wars action figure of the year. And the reason I did this, guy, is because this just normal gray and white droid was part of this holiday advent calendar, and all of these droids are so superbly themed Christmas and Christmas-like. And then you just have this guy that looks like just an average, normal.
What is he?
Like, yeah, what does that
holiday
represent Christmas? It's gray
I don't know.
with white and blue highlights. I mean,
Dirty Snowball?
it has no obvious theming, which makes it the worst non-Star Wars action figure of the year. Non-Hasbro Star Wars action figure of the year.
No Chewing says, where in Galaxy's Edge do they sell these toys? I've been once and must have missed it.
You
so
gotta go in Droid Factory, right?
Yeah. And this one
Droid
was
Droid Depot. Sorry.
Droid Depot had these
Droid Depot.
packs. I think
Correct.
in one of the other shops it had a different droids. I think it was the Disney Plus set of droids. I think there was like Ned B and
the
what's
Mando
the
set.
Forlom? Yeah, the Forlom droid, whatever that series is. I forget. A Q. I forget. I'm all the way. I forget. But Ernie, yes, Advent calendar, please. He keeps ignoring that comment, that request, but he's still in the chat. I think I'm taking the hint, Ernie.
Folks in the chat are
bell?
saying this is a silver bell. And I don't know. It's a little bit of a stretch for me.
Tomorrowland Star Traders.
Yes, they'll sell some sets over there. They'll also sell some sets in the kiosk out where, if you walk out by Rise of Resistance, right before you get to Rise of Resistance, there's usually a Rebel kiosk there that sells toys and stuff right by the X-Wing and the A-Wing.
Mm-hmm.
And they could have them there. Star Traders or what's the other one called? Star Traders in one park, and it's wow, what is the name of it? I have zero recall today. Goodness gracious, you would think I'd know Disney World's better than Disneyland since I was based
Has
out
every Build a Droid or Droid Factory part.
right. Well, no, I was going to say, since I spent so much time in Orlando, since when you're a cast member, you get to go to the parks for free. And so
Right.
I lived at Orlando on my off days, the parks, but I cannot think of what right now the shop is outside of Star Tours called there. Star Traders in Land, and it is...
Come on, Ernie. You got the How We Do Disney show.
Not Tatooine Traders. What the heck is it called? Oh my gosh. Wow. That's going to bother me. No, I'm Googling it. So
Just giving
irritated with myself.
Thank you, Ernie. Jake says it's like clearance or something for $30. So
$34
don't pay,
was last week.
don't pay the
Huge
full
pile
price.
of them.
please. Well, Ernie's in California. In California. Yeah, that's cool. But Jake, you collect so much stuff. I'm trying to slow down a little bit. Do you have any sense of that? I know you said you were looking for, this month you've already bought so much stuff, all the stuff behind you, but do you see yourself slowing down or dropping any lines, or no, it's just full send?
No, I mean, obviously, Masters of the Universe is coming to an end now. I kid. No. I think I'm pretty solid. I'm still doing Mega when I find it, when it comes out, the construction Masters of the Universe. I'm doing Origins. I collect I collect Transformers that are based on characters from the first and second year, so 84 and 85.
Mm-hmm.
And I really don't go beyond that, Once 86 in the movie hits, like I said earlier, that was my end point. So I pick up Transformers there. I'm doing G.I. Joe O-Ring. I heard a rumor. Maybe tell me, you said G.I. Joe's not your jam, is that right?
Not really. I'm aware of some of the toys that are out there, though.
So you don't do classifieds even or anything? Nope. All right. I collect anything from G.I. Joe the movie. So ironic, I'm not a fan of Transformers the movie, but I'm absolutely a fan of G.I. Joe the movie. And I know that, again, you just had tons of people hate you for having me on because of that statement. But
numbers keep dropping.
Right? I know, it's weird. It's the lowest viewed episode ever. I don't know what happened. So I love G.I. Joe. So the rumor is Chuckles is coming in the classified line this year. So I'll definitely get that. I picked up Serpentor. I picked up Sergeant Slaughter. These are all characters who were, highlighted in the movie. I'll get anything in the O-ring. So here's the thing. I heard someone say that they heard behind the scenes that there will be no new O-ring figures coming out from Hasbro this year. But at the same time, the Full Force podcast says that they've had leaks that we're getting 2 new transforming O-ring sets. So we had this set. This is the new craze that they've been doing. They put a O-ring figure in with a vintage G.I. Joe vehicle that transforms into a transformer, right? They've done the Hiss so far, and they've done the Awe Striker. The word is that we're getting 2 more. We're getting the Dreadnought Thunder Machine, and what was the other one that they just announced that rumor came out? So I'm hopeful that those are true because, like I said, I would buy both of those instantly. What was the other one that was pipelined or rumored? Man, I have to think about it.
Yeah, people don't come to my stream for G.I. Joe knowledge. I know
no
that,
G.I. Joe. All right.
Well, no, there are people who collect it, but they're not
right?
like, I wonder what Kevin has to say about Opticons because he doesn't know what Transformers are called. So I had a lot of those toys growing up. That's why I asked earlier, like, do you have any siblings? Because I'm an only child and I got a crap ton of those toys from back in the day, and they were all saved from when I was a kid. Like, I still have a lot of them, but a lot of the stuff I don't even remember what properties they came from. I just remember playing with them. So I had a lot of the toys. That's why I have a bunch of Mask vehicles, some Thundercats, Visionaries. I didn't even know.
I want to know what Mask vehicles you have. That's your research project.
The big tanker, the truck.
Okay.
The 18-wheeler where the cabin opens and there's a missile launcher inside. So much fun. And a little car breaks out from the back of the
the Rhino.
I have the Rhino. I have the one that's like a SUV. Did they even have SUVs back then?
Slingshot.
But the hood slides up to to block the windshield, I think.
Oh no. You're talking about the jackhammer. I believe it's a jackhammer.
Sure.
The black one, right?
Yeah, it's black. It's
Yep.
a black
Mhm.
Jeep type SUV
Yep.
thing. There's a green motorcycle that turns into a helicopter.
Mhm.
That thing was so
Condor.
much fun. Kind of like a buggy, like a buggy, I think.
Orange.
Yeah, orangish, and wings come out.
Oh
Is
no,
it
you're
wings,
talking
the
about
tires,
the
or is it a race car?
race car. It's the race car.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there's a purple-ish motorcycle with a sidecar,
Mhm.
and
The
the sidecar
Piranha.
shoots out, and it's supposed to be
Mhm.
like a water vehicle.
100%, man.
Yeah. Lots of fun with those.
Oh, so good, so good, so good. I love Mask. I was just chatting with. Ryan should know. Ryan got me actually my most recent Mask toy. He went up to Toy Traders up in BC. If you're
Right.
ever in the BC area, you got to hit Toy Traders. It is the most ginormous toy store that you can possibly imagine, and huge dioramas on the walls. It's fantastic. You've been there, Kevin?
No, I've
No.
seen pictures, and I know friends go there. I know Ryan
Yeah.
goes there.
It's fantastic.
So yeah, I heard it. It's definitely a place to stop by if I ever make it out that way.
100%. Yeah. No, if you're flying into Seattle and you're heading up to Vancouver, Toy Traders is the way to go. You can also stop in Smallville on your way up there, where they filmed that movie or that TV show. All downtown Smallville is right there in the area too.
A lot of the CW stuff is out there,
yeah.
I believe.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, it's what do they call it? Hollywood North. Hollywood North.
What's up, Mike Hext? Thanks
Lucy
for tuning
Lawless
in.
once invited me up to when she was filming Battlestar Galactica, because I kind of helped her. I persuaded her to get that job when she went on to Battlestar Galactica, and so she invited me up on set when she was filming that in Vancouver. And
cool.
Yeah, it's just amazing how many lots they have up there. Ryan
CW
says,
and Hallmark own Vancouver.
yes, they do. It's funny. Every Hallmark city has blue tinted skyscrapers. It's really weird how that happens.
That's the only place they have love and Christmas at the same time. Yeah. Do you have any more stuff you want to open tonight?
Oh man, I'll open.
Want to grab like one more?
Hey, look at this. Let's do oldie but goodie. You opened an old one, so it inspired me. So I picked this one up at we have a flea market here, not far in town, that she buys, the lady that owns this section of the flea market buys storage units and then sells what's in the storage units, right? Well, she happens to have bought so many over time that she has a massive toy collection that she's been amassing. And so she'll have Toy Biz figures and Mattel and superheroes and Spawn and whatnot. And she'll sell
That
them
sounds dangerous.
Oh, no, it is.
Especially for a man like yourself with
right. She'll sell them for
collections.
$3 to $10, right?
Oh my God.
So I think I picked Angela up here for $6, even though she has a price tag that says $10.99. I did not pay $10.99 for her. So Angela here, and the reason I picked her up is not because I'm necessarily a Spawn fan, although I am old enough to say that I was all in when Image Comics began. And I bought like the first 20 issues of every original Image comic. So Spawn and Youngblood and like all of them that were out during that time, right? Shadowhawk and what have you. But the reason I bought her is because I'm such a big Marvel fan. She is now crossed over. Somehow Todd McFarlane was able to scoot the rights away from, they're all creator owned, right? With Image.
Right.
So he was able to somehow port her into the MCU, and she's now part of the 7 realms of Thor, or 8 realms, or whatever. Right?
Right. Yeah, there's a Legends figure of her
Yeah.
too, right? If I'm not
So
mistaken.
I thought I should have her original figure on hand, especially because it was so cheap
To open?
I don't care. I mean,
Okay.
if it's less than $20, I'll open it. I don't care, right? Even if it is vintage, I don't care. If I paid less than $20, I will open it. And that's hurtful to some people because they're like, it's vintage. And I'm like, is it? If I paid $10 for, well, here's the thing. All right, story time. When my son was born in 2010, the original vintage collection, vintage collection 1.0 was super hopping, right? And my son did not sleep through the night because we didn't know at the time he had allergies that kept him awake at night, scratching and whatever. And so I made it through college. I made it through working nights at Toys R Us without drinking coffee. My son is born and I automatically cannot function because I am not sleeping through the night. He did not sleep through the night in the first year of his life. So I could not function.
That's rough.
As being a middle school teacher, you have to have some sleep, right? I can survive off a little sleep, but I was having none. I remember there were times where I was rocking him at 3 a.m. just thinking, my alarm goes off in 2 hours and I have not slept
That's
yet.
the worst feeling. The worst feeling. I've been there.
And so, the feeling then that, and I wasn't a coffee drinker. My parents didn't drink coffee. I just never needed it. When I worked at Toys R Us, I'd have a Mountain Dew if I was tired. But other than that, I just didn't need it. I had to start drinking coffee. That being said, all the figures that were coming out during that time, I just bought them because I'm a completist, and I just threw them in a box because I didn't have time I was delirious most of the day, right?
Yeah.
Taking care of a child that didn't sleep. I wasn't opening toys. And so that was during the vintage collection when it first came out. Well, Star Wars toys have not stopped, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just buy new toys and I'll open the new toys. So time goes by and all of a sudden I have 70, 80, 90 vintage collection figures that are not opened. Well, guess what? Now 10 years later, 13 years later, they're worth hundreds of dollars a piece. I paid $10 for them.
Yeah.
But now they're worth hundreds of dollars. They're part of my collection. My collection will eventually go on display. Do I open them?
Because you paid $10?
I paid $10 for them. I meant to open them, but I was delirious because I was taking care of a child that didn't sleep more than focusing on the hobby, right? So do I open a $300 Ahsoka figure? Or she's even a $700 at times, right? Her figure goes up to the first Ahsoka. Do you open that figure? It's part of my collection. I bought it for $10, but do you open it? That's where I'm at right now. I've sat on some of these figures so long.
Buy loose versions of them and then sell these ones at or under market value, whatever you
It seems
deem
like a lot of work for $10, right? I mean,
it's not.
I bought it for $10.
It is $10. How many? Well, 13 years ago.
13 years ago, I bought it for $10. Why am I going to trade a figure for a figure I own for $10, even though it is worth hundreds more?
No, I think Yoko wants you to open Ahsoka. She's a big Ahsoka fan. She wants to see what's going on. Jamie Lynn Parks, what's going on? Says you do whatever you want to do with it. I mean, that's true, but sometimes you're put in a spot where it's like is there an easy decision? I feel like it isn't if you're bringing this up now, Jake.
Because I have this new studio here, and I plan on launching my own show, right? At some point, unboxing toys because I boxed up 12 when I had to redo this room. I boxed up 1,200 carded Star Wars action figures. I'm not a carded collector. Wait, let me reiterate that. I am not a carded collector. I literally boxed up 1,200 carded figures.
Good Lord, I thought I had a backlog.
Oh no. Yeah, no, I'm saying
He's like,
it's
oh,
a
no, you
problem.
don't.
It's a problem. I tell you this. So do I start a channel where I unbox these super valuable figures because I only paid
Yes.
$10?
Do it for the content. People are going to be like, this guy's insane. Why is he opening this
guy is an
$700?
Well,
I watch people.
You've seen the pushback on all those people that unbox vintage items. They
Yeah.
hate that, but at the same time they watch it.
They're like, oh, look, this is a $300 pack of base set Pokemon from whatever year, and I'm going to open it because I can make a 30-second video. Sometimes
Right.
I'm like, oh man, that's crazy. But you can get some pulls in there. But knowing that knowing that you have a problem, you've said it a few times in this episode, you admit to having the problem. Has that changed how you collect in any way?
No, man. It's part of who I am. I mean, for better or worse, right? I mean, I'm married with kids, so obviously I made some right decisions at some point, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I've always been a toy collector, even as a kid. So when most kids like sell their toys at a garage sale in the middle school years, right? Or when they, blow them up with fireworks or bury them in the backyard. No. I took prestigious care of my toys. I spent so much time on my toys. I took care of them so well. And when I got to middle school, I want to watch Jake
unbox valuable toys.
Right?
Hate watch unboxing Fridays?
There you go. Maybe I have to do it like in the dead middle of the night. So there's like no one's watching right now. Just you'll hate this later.
It's the internet.
Right?
It's the internet. There's no
Right.
off time.
There's always an audience. In middle school, when it wasn't no one else you knew was collecting toys, I was still going out and collecting. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were super hot when I was in middle school, and that's what I would do. And I remember, and I think I've told this story before, running into the love of my life, the girl I had the biggest crush on forever in middle school. We were in dance class together. That's what I did for Disney. I was an entertainer and a dancer, and so I grew up going to dancing, doing dance classes and stuff. And one of the girls in my class, we went to school together and danced together. She was just my end all be all, but I was a nerd collector. I didn't ever initiate anything, but I remember running into her at Target once, and I had the latest Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figure, which is probably being reissued this week by Playmates. It was probably,
don't
right.
Get me started on
Right.
that.
It's probably one of those. And I remember running into Lindsay, which is ironic because that's now my wife's name, not the same girl. But
you made your wife change your name to Lindsay, or it just happened to be?
Well, my wife also grew up as a dancer too. It's there's a weird, they lay down on a psychology couch right now. So I remember running into this middle school girl, Lindsay, and flipping that turtle behind my back. Hey, what's up? What's going on? Yeah, cool. All right. Well, good talking to you. And I kind of back up so you don't see, and then I kind of like flip it around as I run to the register. So I was the kid that never gave up collecting, even when it wasn't cool. So yeah, I'm a lifelong. I mean, in college, I was heavy into Playmates Star Trek. I collected all the Star Trek figures I can get my hands on, and I populated my dorm room with them. When I worked for Disney is when episode 3 came out, and every time I hit a new port, because I worked for Disney Cruise Lines, I would go into town and find any store that carried anything Star Wars episode 3, and I would buy it and put it up in my cabin on the cruise ship. And so just every point of my life has been collecting. It's
right.
just always been. And so when you're like, do you think you're taking a break or have you changed things? I'm like, no, I just like,
No.
it's what I love. It's what I do. You know, I've been 10 years on Galaxy of Toys. I ran my own podcasts. I've run my website. I host conventions. I help put on toy shows. I speak at Emerald City Comic Con. I speak at Celebration. You know, toys are what I do when I'm, you know, it's
That's
my,
incredible.
you know, I call it my jobby, you know, it's my hobby job, right? That I make $0 from, but it's my hobby. So, you know, you don't regret it when it's your hobby, right? So
Job hobby. Everyone's wondering what's this Ahsoka you're talking about.
the vintage collection, the very first vintage collection, Ahsoka, when she was cast in, and she was an online exclusive. Vintage collection was starting to die off in 2012. She was a online exclusive, so e-tailer exclusive. She was in a wave with like the Royal Guard and Nine Numb and whatnot. So the very first vintage collection Ahsoka is the one that's super valuable. She's been reissued in the newer version of the, you know, 2.0 once they restarted the vintage collection with in 2000 and shoot, what was it? 16, 17?
I can't find it based on this.
She is exactly the same as the vintage collection Ahsoka that came out in the newer
the
line.
kid one now?
Say it again.
Is it like the? No, this isn't it.
Yeah,
like
no,
you're saying it looks like this one?
that is the figure. Yeah,
Okay.
that is the figure. So she came out, but she's been released multiple times since the original card. So what you're looking at here is the reissue.
Right.
So they reissued this one. They also did it in, do you remember when Black Series released small 3 3/4 figures?
Yes.
They put her out in that line as well.
Oh,
But
really?
prior to that, that card back was released in the first version of the vintage collection. That's the one. The original version of that card back
Wow.
is
Okay.
worth hundreds of dollars.
Everyone's scrambling in their collection now. Do I have
Yeah,
it?
no, don't buy that one.
Ryan Dole
Oh.
says she was not online in Canada.
You mean you didn't have access to her, or she was in stores, or what?
I don't know. Maybe it's the distribution's a little bit different up here. That's cool. Well, yeah, I mean, definitely open them up.
It's
Open them up.
It's gonna be painful.
It will be. Oh, Yoko offered you 20, so you've doubled your initial investment
tempting.
over the course of 12
It's
years.
tempting.
That's a good
But then I
return.
wouldn't have it. Then I wouldn't have it in my collection.
Yeah, you can get it for 20. That's what I mean. Like, get a loose one.
I've been buying tons and tons of old school Toy Biz figures too over the years, because those things can be had for, you know, $5 to $10 easily.
Mm-hmm.
I've been buying lots of those carded. So there's a world where I'm going to open those as well. But those don't mean much. We're talking about regrets earlier about selling stuff. One of the regrets I have is I had the whole first wave of Marvel Legends, the Toy Biz ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in a pinch at some point. I needed some money, and I was working a toy show like I normally do. And I put them on my table, and I put them on my table for like $20 a piece, right? I had a guy come through and buy them. This guy also had a table at the convention, at the toy show.
Yep.
He comes through, buys them. Literally, as he walks away, starts taking a Sharpie to the price and scratched out 20 and put 60 on each figure.
Yeah.
Puts them on his table, like not far from me. Like I can see his table from my table.
Oh, no.
And sure enough,
You're like just watching them sell.
2 hours later, they were all gone. And I was just like, that dude is an asshole. It's an asshole move, right? I mean, come on. Did I underprice them? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But to just blatantly sell them out in front of me, like 3 tables away, is an asshole move. Come on now. You wait till the next toy show and flip them, or you pull them on eBay or something. I was not happy.
Oh man, yeah, those went up. Those were pretty pricey for a while.
They were for a
Until-
while. I don't know that they
yeah.
are anymore, but
Maybe some of those ones like the Sentinel Build-A-Figure wave, I guess depending on the Build-A-Figure, or Galactus or Giant Man probably goes for crazy money.
well, I had some of those early sets too, like the Toys R Us exclusive original X-Men set, the 5-pack. Yep.
Yeah.
I remember having that. I regret selling that now, even though I don't do Marvel Legends, but I say that as I can see 5 over there unopened, but I don't
calling
do
yourself
Marvel
out.
Legends. I don't do Marvel Legends, but I had to get a certain. I do.
Yeah.
I do. That's a middle school joke right there. I do collect
Nice.
something from every MCU, because when MCU kind of started, not long after MCU started, they had the 3 3/4 line, and they made a Thor line and an Iron Man 2 line, an Iron Man 3 line, and a Captain America and a Winter Soldier, right? They had all these. I was collecting these action figure lines for the MCU. But then they transitioned to that kind of that value 5-inch, 6-inch figure, like the $10, $12 figures, right? Like they just did for Wakanda Forever, right?
Okay.
They're cheaper. They're not Marvel Legends, but they're close to that size, right? So they transitioned to that along the way, and I really resisted that for a while, but I now collect those.
Hi, Kyle. Thanks for tuning in.
Is that a Megazord?
This is the Tyrannosaurus Dinozord
Dinozord.
Super 7 Ultimates. It's so much fun. It's so nice. And no Power Rangers. I didn't see a mention of Power Rangers in that in the last 2.5 hours.
Right.
Was it just not the right time for you?
I have a Power Ranger story. I'm not the right age for Power Rangers.
Right.
It came out when I was in college, so it's a little older, skewed, right? But I was working at Toys R Us at the time while going to college, and during the summers I had even more time. And I'm like, well, I need to make more money than Toys R Us, because I think when I was working at Toys R Us, they paid $5.25 an hour, and they had no employee discount. Isn't that horrible?
Oh no.
So the perk of the reason I even went to work for Toys R Us, obviously, other than being a toy addict, is that you got first crack at merch. So
Right.
they didn't give you a discount, but if you unloaded the truck, you can get all the Star Wars figures or Marvel Legends or whatever you wanted, right?
Yeah.
So that was the perk. So in the manager's office, is what we called it, there was a shelf that went above, and we would just put all the stuff that we would buy on payday, because Toys R Us paid weekly. The weirdest job ever. I'm now a school teacher, and school teachers are paid monthly. So
Oh wow.
yeah, to think about being paid weekly is such a weird foreign concept. But anyway, we would just fill the shelves until that week, right? When you got your paycheck, and you'd go buy your toys. So I needed more money than just what Toys R Us was paying. So I got a job at the Best Western that was across the street from Toys R Us. And I lived in this town here, Puyallup, that nobody ever came in. I think Weird Al was the most famous person that ever stayed there, because
stayed there, not even
stayed there. Yeah.
Okay.
No, stayed there because he was performing at the county fair that was down the hill, right? And so no one ever came to this. So as a concierge, you got never tipped, you had nothing to do. And so I was so bored out of my mind. I could only dust the staircase so many times that I would go find an empty room key. And I would find an empty room key. And every time I was working, I would go into an empty room and watch TV, because there was literally nothing to do. There was no guests. I wore a little beeper. If there was a guest, they'd let me know, but nothing ever happened, right? I said beeper. That's aging me so much.
Yeah.
But Power Rangers was the only thing that was on during the day that was even worth watching, because I'm not a soap opera guy. And so it came on at like this exact time where every day that I worked, there was nothing else to watch. So I got into the first season of Power Rangers. And that was it. Just the first season. I went and saw the first 2 movies in the theater because they were based on the first season. But other than that, it was never my thing.
Oh,
that was
the toys didn't get you either?
The toys didn't get me because there's so much else out at that time, right? When you're making that little of money, you're in college and you're trying to collect Star Wars Power of the Force, you didn't have time for Power Rangers.
No, I get it. You got to make your priorities. Until now, when you become an adult and you have grown-up money, then you buy everything.
Well, did I buy the reissues that Hasbro Walmart did a few years ago? Yes, I did. But they stopped. They only did like 3 or 4 Rangers and they were done.
That Walmart had?
It was a Walmart.
The flip ones? Power Rangers?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
They only did a couple and then they were done. And so I was like, all right. I started collecting the Lightning collection, but then I sold them. Actually, to Laser Pants, I think, who was on here at a toy show.
Nice.
Because I wanted to focus more on the vintage ones.
Cool.
So,
makes sense.
So there is a Power Ranger history there. I have a few.
Well, we're coming up to like 2.5 almost hours. If anyone has any questions for Jake before we hop out of here, I think we're about to wrap up. But before we go, Jake, you have the website. You mentioned a whole bunch of stuff that you do before. I have the links to your YouTube, the website, Instagram here on the video description. Anything else that people should know about or be looking forward to from you?
Oh, man. All right. Well, let's see. Do the Washington State Toy Show in February, I think 11th. In Everett, and then we'll do it again on April 1st in Puyallup. I'll be at SummerCon, which is the week after Father's Day in June. Be hosting celebrities. I heard of some of the celebrities that are going to come. If you're a Star Wars fan, it's always a good show. I have a new spot here. And like I said, I want to start my own. It's been a few years since I've done podcast. It's been a long time. I did a weekly podcast show for 2.5 years called Toy Run, the Star Wars action figure cast with a guy named Chris B, who runs galacticfigures.com. And it's been a few years since I've been in the podcast world. So I'm thinking about rejoining that this year now that I have a cool new space to do that. And I might even add in a little YouTube component.
Nice.
So yeah, I think those are the big things. I may or may not be doing a panel at Emerald City Comic Con this year. We'll see. Sammy is referencing on Galaxy of Toys. We keep hinting at trying to do a G.I. Joe podcast called Battlefield of Toys. And I hope that happens here soon. But we'll see.
Sweet. Mike Hex says, what's your favorite figure? Do you have a favorite figure?
Oh, yeah. Luke Bespin. Kenner's Luke Bespin. Last count I had 60. So the original Kenner Luke Bespin is by far my favorite figure. Cool. Was it like a first Star Wars toy that you got, or some sort of attachment to that? I think Luke is a good balance. I'm sorry. Yep. I'll be right back. I got kid stuff. 1 second.
Cool. I got
Wife's out of town.
Well, while we wait for Jake to come back, we opened a lot of Star Wars centric stuff today, but I've got so many things. I just did a review earlier this week for the Super 7 Ultimates Power Rangers Wave 1 Tyrannosaurus Dinozord. You can see how freaking awesome it looks here. Hope you have a chance to check it out if you're interested. Maybe if you're not interested in the figures, but you can at least still take a look at it and see what's going on. Always good to know what's happening in the toy world. I have the Green Ranger and Yellow Ranger review coming out tomorrow. I hope maybe I can finish it tonight. I need to add some photos and add some music. Maybe we have a little Green Ranger action here. I opened Goldar. Was that last week? Yeah, last week with Kyle and Ryan Ting. If you haven't seen that episode yet, feel free to rewatch. But these two scale so well together, and look at the gold on this Goldar. It's a lot of fun, and I know it's a line people were curious about, or possibly doubtful about, or hopeful for. But I'm hoping that the reviews give you a little bit more insight on the toys, the Tyrannosaurus, and there's going to be more stuff coming soon. The Bespin Luke.
So sorry. Kids
Oh, no
are getting
worries.
kids are getting ready for school and bed, and
Yeah,
mom's out of town. So I'm like, where is this? I'm like, all right, I'll find it. Bespin Luke. I think Luke is the best balance between A New Hope and Jedi in Empire Strikes Back, because he carries both a saber and a blaster.
Okay.
So he's still fresh, but he's also still a Jedi. So I don't know. It always appealed to me as a kid. So yeah, just every time I see one and it's not ridiculous price, I pick one up. So I'm not Dan Larson and seek them out like, what is he at? 600 Boba Fett's or something like that. No. When I'm at an event, toy show, a Comic-Con, whatever, if I see one and it's less than $20, I'll buy one. So
I think that makes sense, because then as a toy too, you get the best of both worlds with the two accessories. You get a blaster and a lightsaber, versus maybe like Jedi Luke, Return of the Jedi Luke would just be just saber. That's a good choice.
Well, no, Return of the Jedi Luke did come with the...
Did you have blaster too?
He came with the blaster. He came with the skiff guard blaster. But that wasn't his. He didn't purposely carry a blaster in that movie, whereas he still needed it in Empire. And I really like that balance, that he's vulnerable, yet he's still trying to be a Jedi. He's, to me, the best of both worlds, because Luke, A New Hope, Farm Boy Luke is of course whiny, and Jedi Luke, like you've seen in The Mandalorian, is a little too stoic, right? I mean, think about the way he's even interacts with Grogu, and it's like, dude, you can probably lighten up a little bit.
He's like a monk, almost,
right? I mean, yeah. So he's still that good balance. He's raw, but he's also starting to be refined. And I don't know. It's always appealed to me, that Bespin Luke era.
Okay, cool.
Because I think if I was a Jedi, I'd want to hold a blaster too, because as soon as that saber leaves your hand, you've got something else you can. I mean, granted, they have the Force, but still, I think it's a smart move.
Saber, blaster, Force for you.
Exactly.
Did you ever look into Star Wars Galaxies when it was still a thing? Is that the RPG?
That was the RPG. Yeah, no, I never got into playing. Once I had kids, my video game days pretty much slipped away, which is ironic, because now my boy is all about video games. But
you're like, I gave this up for you,
and now he's loving his Minecraft and Fortnite and Pokemon Violet, or do we buy Scarlet? I forget which one we bought, but he loves it.
Yeah. Hey, but you get to collect cards with him, and that's probably, I imagine as they get older, the window closes. Window of opportunity closes there. So that's
here's
cool.
the thing. He's a middle schooler now. So he's getting to the age of like, Dad, I don't want these toys in my room anymore. I'm like, okay. And I am secretly taking them, and I'm just putting them in a box. No, I'm putting them in the box. I'm putting them in the garage, because if he is my child, he's going to want these later. And so I boxed up all the little toy lines that he likes, Beyblades just went into a box, and I can't tell you how many Christmases Beyblades were the toy to have for him. So
for sure.
Yeah. So
no,
it's fine. He'll have it all. He has his breakaway beasts and his, all this sorts of things that I'll give back to him someday. And he's going to be like, hey, I had these when I was a kid. I'm like, yeah, you still do.
You still do.
You still do.
Bring him out one day.
That's a crazy toy hoarder.
I think I would do that too, but I'm using that space for my own stuff. So
Ha!
sorry, kids, we're selling it.
Well, I already
If
have
you watch
dreams
this
of
in
how
the
I'm going to
future.
build 3-story shelves because we have a 2-car garage that's super high, super tall. So I'm like,
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what? I
that's-
need to build shelves
Yeah.
up. So wife will have decorations. I'll have stuff that can't go on display. The kids will have their toys. My daughter,
make
though,
use
this
of
is
that
crazy
space.
thing. My daughter's never been a toy girl. She's just, I mean, she did little pet shops when she was a kid and Polly Pockets, but she grew out of those pretty quickly, right?
Mhm.
Girls mature faster than boys. But she is now a sophomore. Like I said, she just got her driver's license last week. You know what she's into and she asked for Christmas? Calico critters. My wife and
Really?
I are like, what?
Really?
You want calico? Sure, absolutely. So of course now she's getting all these calico critter stuff. But I'm like, I wasn't expecting this at 16. No one tells you that your kid's gonna want old vintage
Yeah,
toys.
I wouldn't have
So-
expected that either. Very cool.
So
All right. Jake, I feel like we could talk for hours more, but I think it's about that time. It's
absolutely. Well,
we got to get ready for the next day. So do you.
absolutely. We can do this again. I'm always happy.
I mean, 12,000, was it 1,200 figures? No,
1,200.
1,200.
I probably have
1,000.
12,000 total, but 1,200 carded. I
Yeah.
know that's a problem.
Yeah, definitely. You have more unboxings in you, so we can talk. There's so much more that we haven't touched on tonight, but there's more toys to open in the future. If you're free, come back
100%.
anytime and
100%.
hang out for a little bit and school us, me and everyone on with some of your toy knowledge. That'd be cool. So from LOM to Zuckuss.com. Check out the recent interview with the Star Wars Hasbro team on Jake's channel. A lot of cool information on there, and just to see them talk about what's coming down the line. And I always like seeing things like that. Monday nights here on Toying Around, 9 p.m. Eastern, is Bad Batch Case of the Mondays with the Boba Squadron, myself, Yoko, Paul, and the Fallen Fett. I have to watch this week's episode, and we will be back on Monday to talk about it. Last week, we kind of got sidetracked because we didn't even talk about the Mando trailer tonight. Shoot. Well, we'll do another episode.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to always talk Star Wars media as well.
Heck yeah. But yeah, we did like a live react last week.
Mhm.
If you haven't seen it yet,
You
take
had
a few
Paul
minutes,
on
check
there,
it
huh?
out. Yeah, Paul
Yeah.
had a good time. It was a lot of fun. And next unboxing Thursdays will be Dante from the Infinity Equation. And just stay tuned to the channel. I appreciate everyone's support. Recently hit 4K here on YouTube, and it means a lot. Thank you so much. And I think that's it. Everyone, what time is it? 11:40. Head over to Toy Migos if you want more toy content. And see what's going on over there. The fellas over at the Toy Migos, they're probably talking about toy news tonight. So everyone, thanks for watching. Jake, Ryan says it perfectly. Jake's a good talker. Yeah, enjoy your stories. Thank you so much.
That's a
sharing
backhanded comment, but I'll take it.
Yeah, probably from Ryan. It
Yeah,
usually
100% from
usually
Ryan. I
is.
know.
Yeah. Everyone, thank you so much for watching tonight. Please leave a thumbs up on your way out if you haven't yet. Have a great evening and keep toying around. Peace.